Hello everyone, my name is Jorge Espinosa. So this is a very special occasion because if you watch this video, this is the epic, amazing, surprising introduction to the absolute edition to the TTV Channel interview near to the end. So let me tell you a little bit about this special interview as he name itself said. uh, I was looking for some interviews related to Bionicle and Lego, but as I said in the interview, I check with I check it and I sent an email to the guys of TTV Channel, and Meso asked the email, and a few months ago this whole travel started, and nowadays it's finished, it's accomplished. The interview is a really nice video, but it was an incredible travel through different ages of the Bionicle fandom history. Also, it's an incredible introduction to the TTV channel career and Bionicle fanbase and Bionicle franchise. To my surprise, I really like the final result. I make some fixes, I fix some stuff. I correct another stuff. I add some images to make an example. If you are like to watch the whole video, not only here, to make some to boost some jokes or punchlines, and I hope you can enjoy this little video, the second interview of the modern era of the channel. And more important, this video is a return of Starry Nights Productions. Maybe you say, what is a Starry Night production? So, which is a Starry Nights production? It was a project which I made during the 2019 to 2020, and I tried to make a brand for my exclusive productions as a personal imprint, an ex libris, and finally is is ready and come back. So I hope you can enjoy the first video of the new Starry Nights Productions era, and enjoy the whole interview. Thank you so much to the TTV channel guys, Meso and Eljay. Thank you for for this incredible opportunity, which I never imagined. But from both they have access to say, okay, we're gonna participate in this video. Thank you so much, people, and enjoy the video. Let me put the recorder, and you're ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a very special interview for this channel. And nowadays, if you are a Bionicle fan, maybe you know the situation of TTV podcast. So, in a very, this is a very special program because we, after thinking on the situation, me and the staff, we decided it would be good have with us the TTV podcast. Let me introduce our very our our very special guest. So we are with Mesonak,
Hello,
and
I'm Mesa.
with LJ. Welcome to this channel. So, where is LJ?
Hello.
Okay, nice. It's an incredible honor. Stay with 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 both. Or yeah, it's time to start. Okay. Let me talk about the interview form. So we will have three parts, and our first block we're gonna speak about Bionicle and why why it's so important for 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 the creation of TTV and for very and the very special moment for you. So the first question is, would you describe us how you discovered Bionicle toys?
Well, it was a long time ago, and it was a dark and stormy night, and I was 4 years old, and I was hungry. I was very hungry. I was wanted food, and my mother was like, "Where do you want to go?" And I was like, "McDonald's." And so we went to McDonald's, and I got a Happy Meal toy of a little funny looking guy with a disc. I forget who was first. I think it may have been Kongu. It was either Kongu or Matora, but it was one of the two. And that, as they say, is history. From there, I recognized Bionicle when we next went shopping. I think it was a Kmart store. And I got a few Toa. Then I got a few Taraga. Then I got all the Toa. And that, as we said, was that. I was pretty well and truly hooked. What about you, LJ?
Oh, I think my day was actually dark and stormy. No, it was bright. It was daytime, but it might have been actually stormy. And we, as just kind of a family, went to a nearby toy store in a city I was living in at the time, known as Palo Alto. And I was like looking around, just seeing if there was anything I was interested in, and nothing was interesting me. And eventually I laid my eyes on a Galak Kal. And I'm really genuinely not sure what year it was. It was either really, really early 2003 or really, really late 2002, because where I lived, it was known for getting Bionicle sets extremely early, like sometimes as early as November of the year before their release. And I got that and went home and had some help building it. And I don't remember my next Bionicle set. I just remember being extremely excited about the theme and going to a different toy store in another city and just being hooked. I was there for the rest of it.
Okay, so both of you have this very thing in common. You discovered Bionicle in his early years.
Yeah. Yep. Almost from the beginning for me.
I was
Okay,
literally
so
from the beginning, which means I'm more of a true fan than LJ.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
yeah, okay. I will be honest with with you guys. I remember during the elementary school I saw the McDonald's TV spot of Bionicle. I remember it was a promotion. Yes, it was a Happy Meal with Bionicle and Hello Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh.
I won't pay attention to the toys until one day visit one of my cousins and my grandma. I seen a Gallo toy. I say, what? I asked to my cousin, hey, 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 guy, what kind of toy is this? Looks very amazing. And he told me, it's a robot. You can, it's a, now it's a sphere, but you can blend his arms and his legs and can move his head as a hen. And yes, he attacked with his head.
Iconic. We love that. The
And
Bo
see,
Rock are great.
and see,
Yeah,
did you interact with a Galak or Galakal? Was it?
Gallo
There we go. See,
Uh,
Meso. We're part of
so
the cool kids club.
yeah,
Mm.
Gal Cowboys. So
Heck yeah.
also I remember when I during the early years I discovered Bionicle, and I feel it was amazing because it's different than Transformers and other robots. I can build the toy, I can play with the toy, I can build other toys, but the good part of all is I won't remember very well when was, but the Mask Fly like movie it was released, and even in those days in Mexico it was very easy find the Borok Hall, Toamada, Toa Nuba, yeah, because some toy stores and some department stores have the sales section with the toys in market at sales or the very last sale because or please give that in the give, bring a home to these toys and we need a space. Well, yes, it was a very cool. It, it was amazing those days. So
Absolutely.
speaking about the early days and other stuff, what is what is your opinion about the Bionicle fan base during the early or most specifically when you was involved with the Bionicle fan base community?
Well, I'm probably not the best one to answer because one of my great regrets is that I did not actually get a computer with functioning internet to even find out there was a Bionicle community until late 2008. And then I joined the fan website bzpower.com, and I pretty much only had 1 year to enjoy the Bionicle community before it was canceled, which I'm sad about. I wish I had had a bit of a longer time. From the time I was there, I really liked it because it was fun to find other people, my age or a little bit older, that really liked the same thing I enjoyed. I think the only problem was that the Glatorian in 2009 weren't really too popular. I feel like a lot of people were very critical of them. Meanwhile, I, who was just coming into the community, was like, "These are the greatest things ever. They have elements again. They're like their weapons actually look like they belong to their respective elements. This is so cool." And then a lot of people were just like, "No, these aren't the Toa, so I hate them." You know, that whole thing. But LJ can speak to it a bit more than me because he was there for many years prior.
Yeah. No, I joined the community a lot earlier than Meso did. I was aware of the biggest Bionicle community hub site, BZ Power, from very, very early on because I was getting on the computer and looking at Bionicle related things almost from word go. That's where I found the Bionicle animations, like the Monog animations, the Borak animations, and so on. And if you were a Bionicle fan on the internet in the early 2000s, there was a very high likelihood you knew of BZ Power. That's where Greg Farshty was. That's where a whole lot of stuff was happening. So in kind of mid to late 2005, I ended up joining BZ Power, and I got to be a part of the community for a great many years on that website, and it was a blast. Like there was constantly stuff happening. It was almost always an adventure. BZP had this very unique culture unto itself, where you had these very well-defined sections of the website that had their own histories and backstories. You had the comics form, you had the comedies form, you had storyline and theories. It was just an incredibly active website, and there was so much to do and so much to enjoy almost all the time. So in the early days of Bionicle, when it was still running, the the fan base was it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, I know it. So my personal case, uh, did you remember the cars which was included with the Baki toys? With the
Yes,
Kanohi
Kanoka
toys?
Club.
Yes, Kanoha Club. My father helped me to join to the Kanoka Club. I'm in those days, so I will join very early, but I don't have interaction with any other Bionicle fan um, until YouTube and the high school, because in the junior high in Mexico we have 3 years of junior high. Oh, I met a guy called Oscar who was a very crazy student and was a good friend of mine. He told me, "Did you like Bionicle?" I said, "Yes, I love it." And he showed me how he make mocks with animated topics. Also, he invented a weird history about two Bionicles who have a children. When the other guys question about the situation, say, "Hey, you put two Bionicles, but you show in the photo there are three, and you hidden the third one." No, 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 you are a liar.
Not
Also,
how it works.
yeah, also I remember it was very rare found someone who collect Bionicles or know about the Bionicle history. Even
Yeah.
for a former Mexican comic book press called Mundo Beat published the until yes almost the Bionicle comics until the Piraka. They only publish the first saga and the very last Metro Nui saga. Oh, yes, but the final number of Metro Nui saga never was is missed because they
Really?
canceled it. Yes, they canceled the series because the this press is is the most famous case of bankruptcy in Mexico,
Oh
Oh,
wow.
dang.
and
So you
they
didn't even
say
get to finish Metro Nui? Oof.
yes, they finished the whole series before the Tower Toa assault and the introduction of the Piraka saga.
Wow.
But yes, but the most impressive thing for me, or the most amazing, it was this during the my dad always insist me for good reasons I learn English. He told me, "Did you know there are lots of bionicle and dinosaur material in English, and you will like all, or you will love all this stuff. You will love it." I remember during my junior highs, during the final days of the elementary school and the first of junior high, I discovered the Bionicle communities on internet, all of them in English. I only download the images, play the games on the Bionicle.com website, but until high school, the junior high, I entered to the Latino Bionicle community. It was big, not huge as DC Power, Mask of Destiny, but you can find people who love Bionicle, and you can talk with those people. Some of
That's
them of your
fantastic.
own, yes, some of them of your own country, your own city, but no one speak about a meeting. No one speak about to do an activity. But nowadays, yeah, maybe this is for another point. I almost release an spoiler, but continue. Okay, so we believe you all of the so we grow up in a very interesting stage of the Lego Toys brand, because was a lot of experimentation. There was a lot of original ideas or original idea product or idea project, I don't know, but we have Knights of Kingdom, Exoforce, Galidor, later Ninjago, and Nexo Knights. So if you compare these toys with Bionicle, and which factors you consider make Bionicle unique to and different than Nexonite, X-Force, Galidor, Knights of Kingdom, even Ninjago?
LJ, do you want to take this one first?
Sure, yeah. I think the scale at which Bionicle and its story was at, the scale and the depth of the world, I think are what really set it from the other themes apart. The one that comes closest is Ninjago, because Ninjago has this very expansive world that just recently got even bigger with the release of Dragon's Rising. So there's a lot for people to really engage with when it came to Bionicle. And I think that's one of the reasons that I find myself very partial to the early years, because Lego created a very thorough sandbox for you to place your adventures in that don't necessarily conflict with the story, so you can feel more of a part of that world. And I think Lego did a really good job continuing that depth moving forward. And of course, the twist in the story that happened in 2008 just expanded the world even further. And I think Ninjago, while it does come the closest, and especially with Dragon's Rising, I think that Bionicle just, since it had that baked in from the beginning, that really shows in the majority of its material. So I would say that's what sets Bionicle apart from those other themes. Not devaluing the other themes by any means.
I'll agree. I feel like that's all very true. I'll say one of the things that really set it apart for me was the fact that it had a completely unique and independent build system that, while still compatible with Lego, was very different than most other things on the market that you could get, especially from Lego. Now, the only one that comes close was Knight's Kingdom, but because it lacks what LJ was talking about, it never had much appeal to me because it didn't have much of like a rich story. It was that combination of cool figures and then a cool story. Because I always gravitated more to action figures as a kid than like buildable playsets like the rest of Lego offered. But I hated regular action figures because they felt very limited. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, wave them around wildly in your hands, set them on your shelf in one pose? Like, the appeal of just like posing them or hitting them against each other was never really there for me. But the buildable component, the ability to kind of alter models to combine, make your own, scavenge them for parts if you want, that was really big for me. So it's kind of like the combination of those two things, the story and the breadth of its scope, and then its unique kind of status on the market. That's what I'd say.
Yes, I think Bionicle was different to other toys in the sense of we have very unique characters in the Western worlds. Robot heroes is more common in the Japan or Korean fiction. Also, we have a very cool character designs, and in Mexico we have a Bionicle was one of the cheapest toys in the market during the early days of the franchise.
Wow. Well, that's good.
But yes, but one of the key factors is those guys are different than Max Steel, Action Man, the Marvel Legends toys, or DC Comics toys. It's too common to have a Batman toy, a Superman toy, a Spider-Man action figure, but what happened if that guy having his unique and original story? Also, you can exchange parts or create your own character. Yeah, you couldn't make that with the DC Comics toys because
Yep.
or you can put the Batman head on the Spider-Man's body and say, "Yeah, it's the Spider Bat. It's my
Oh,
original character."
so true. We love the spider bat.
Yeah, Spider Bat, and
No, you're right.
maybe yeah, that sense of this is something new or different. It was the key factor for many people. Also, yeah, the gear function. The gear function was very attractive for a kid.
It's where the phrase actually Galador coined the term constructible action figure, which is where we of course get construction. And I think
Yes,
that's a very that really applies very well to Bionicle. Yeah,
yeah. Also,
because of that action feature.
I agree.
yeah, yes. Also, yeah. If we compare Galidor with Knight's Kingdom, X Force, um, Galidor and Knight's Kingdom are more like mainstream toys. X Force is more like anime fan fan base. Okay, so if we are, yeah, we pass the best part of the describing our love for Bionicle. So why don't we speak about the movies? Do you love
I,
it, enjoy it, or as more, or yes, there are. Did you know there is a new a new branch in the Bionicle fans which say all the Bionicle movies are bad, are the worst, produced by Lego.
who would ever say such a thing?
Yes.
LJ, you go first on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one.
Here it is. Here we go. I really like the Bionicle movies. I enjoy them. They're of course not perfect films, but I struggle to find any that are. And maybe it's the nostalgia. I don't know. I still really like the movies. I also really like that fifth Bionicle movie that came out about 5 years ago, Biocraft Chronicles. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But no, I really like all the Bionicle movies. My favorite being Legends of Metro Nui, which turns
Yeah,
20 this year.
yeah, the most amazing movie of Bionicle.
Heck yeah. See, Mesa, this guy's great. This guy's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm very much one of the people you mentioned that kind of has the take of like most of the movies aren't really that good. I wouldn't go so far and say they're awful. I feel like for their time they were exceptionally good, and for their target audience they're perfectly fine. I just I find that when I go back to Bionicle and when I, consume Bionicle, or when I relive it, or when I show it to new people, which I've had the pleasure of doing a few times, the movies are rarely what sticks out in my mind as an example of like, oh wow, this was a fantastic Bionicle related thing. It's usually the books, or it's usually Monog, or it's even the comics leave a bit more of an impression. I feel the movies are, I don't know what word to say. They're not bad. I just feel they look like the sets. Maybe it's the simplistic kind of story. I don't really know. Maybe it's my bias towards later years, because I very much am a, '06 onwards kind of a fan, much less than an '01 to '05 fan. So maybe it's just my timeline bias kind of at play. Who knows? I really like
yeah,
Mask of Light, and I really like The Legend Reborn, weirdly enough, because I feel like a lot of people don't like that one, and I actually do. I don't really have much affection for Legends of Metro Nui or Web of Shadows. So I won't be joining on the 20th anniversary celebration for those. Sorry.
Hmm.
okay. So, did you know there are in the geek community there are a, a wide number of people who say, "Yeah, Bionicle movies, they are great. Legends of Metro Nui is the best movie."
Yeah, that
Also,
doesn't surprise me.
but even in the anime communities, yes, I meet some people in the manga and anime community. They really love Mask of Life of
Wow.
Light. Yes, most of them say, yes, we love that movie because we love it Toonami, and when Toonami announced the movie, we watch
That
them.
is true. That did happen, and that was very hype. I will agree on that.
Yeah, also they told me, I remember on a radio show which I was a participant, an online radio show. Some people in the musical space during the musical space, they told me, yeah, we remember Bionicle's movies. The first is a piece, the masterpiece.
Well, there you go.
But why I say, what about the second movie? I say, wow, second movie, excellent. So
It's
there
so
is
good.
a yes, but about the movies, I remember there was a lot of or controversy about the fourth one. I saw Bionic the Legend Reborn as during my junior high, and I remember the movie. Yes, I love some aspects of the movie, such as the designs more accurate to the toys. But I have some strange in my mind. I feel confused because okay, I know those movies are for designed for kids, but I feel they try to be I don't know more. They try to appeal more like a general public, and this movie try to appeal more like to the children or a younger audience as a bait to buy the toys. Yeah, the others do the
I'll
same, but
agree. It did do it more than the first three. I'll agree on
yeah.
that.
Also, we have this strange thing of angry of for some people. Where is Galu? Where are the other? Where are the other characters?
I mean, Gelu and Malum, he only showed up as a
Yeah.
cameo, you know. So
Yes. Also, where are the vehicles? Where are the tornado? Where are all these cool motorcycle vehicles and these the Baranos? Where are those cool toys? Yeah.
I think they had too many sets and they couldn't figure out a way to get them all in the movie, but it did raise some eyebrows. Put it that way.
Yeah. Also, also I remember a lot of strange theories about the giant robot. Many people say, "Yeah, Toa Matanoi said it's a giant robot in the next movie." Remember my words.
And then it was nothing.
Yes,
That is true.
exactly. So about the movies, we're gonna continue with someone which is too controversial for some people.
Oh.
Uh, what was your opinion about the second trilogy of Bionicle? Yes, we know many people say The Legend Reborn is not my favorite. I don't like the movie. It's okay. Or if my little cousin or my little brother loves the movie, for me it's okay. I can have a person which I can introduce into the franchise.
So
But
when you say second trilogy,
yeah, when I remember those days, the people say, Greg Foster say, there was a second, will be a second trilogy of Bionicle movies. I say, wow, yes,
I
yes, the
see.
final.
So the more the potential of the second trilogy we didn't get to see. Yeah.
Yes,
For me, I just think it's a lot of missed potential. I would have very
okay,
much liked to see Bara Magna and Bota Magna and Aqua Magna, all those planets explored in more detail. I would have liked to see a lot of the cut content. I would have liked to see the Batera, the Element Lords, all the things that we didn't get to see. I was very sad when it was announced that that second trilogy would not be happening. But I do like The Legend Reborn for what it is. I think it does very well.
okay. We spoke about the movies. Yes, I remember it was a very incredible announcement. The in the forums, the people say, yes, we will see the final battle, maybe another Bionicle saga. But yes, the end is here. Some during the last days of November 2009, or 29, the Lego Group made an announcement related to the end of the first generation of Bionicle. I still remember how the people feels about this bad news. And some people express his sadness, his disagree about the past states of the franchise. You know, the some people argue during in considered well shadows to Barra Magna. It was decadence of the franchise, and other discuss about try to combat the emptiness of the franchise because yes, some people have Bionicle as his life, and other people feels with doubts about what happened with Bionicle. It's possible to save the franchise, but in your case, what's your did you remember those days? Also, what was your opinion about the early Hero Factory prototypes?
Okay. So the thing with me was when I found out that Bionicle was going to end, I found out about it a few months before my friends did and the rest of the community did, because I was very clued into the online like leaker community where people would post rumors and rumblings and speculations. And there was one person whose name escapes me at the moment, but he said that my friend works at a retailer and he told me that Bionicle's ending and that it's like getting pulled off shelves and that it's not going to continue past 2010 and that it's going to be replaced with a new theme. And I was very sad about that because I was a big Bionicle fan. And then I processed it, over the course of a month or two. And then I tried to get other people to kind of like accept what was coming because I believed it, but everybody else thought it was fake, thought the leak was a fabrication. And I was trying to convince people, like, no, I trust this person. I think that it is going to end. And they were like, no, Meso, you're being silly. You're, peddling false rumors. And so when it did actually come out that it was ending, I was very sad, but I also felt a weird sense of like vindication almost because I had seen that it was coming several months before. And so I made the very regrettable decision to gloat to my friends in TTV about it and be like, I was right. It was ending after all, which didn't exactly do me many favors. As for Hero Factory, I was basically in like the moment I saw the Hero Factory leaks, I was sold. Now, that's probably because I was a mockist, and so I was just looking at Hero Factory as a chance to get recolored Bionicle pieces. I was like, ooh, black and silver Glatorian hands, or ooh, these helmets can work with Glatorian heads. So that was kind of how I was approaching it. But I also really liked some of the early stuff we got for the story. HF was simple, but it was funny. The Hero Factory FM is a classic. So I was HF's biggest fan from like word go.
Yeah, I remember Meso gloating. I was there for that.
You weren't happy with me?
I don't know anyone that was Meso. But yeah, when I read the announcement, I was definitely sad about it. But at the time, I had become integrated with the others in TTV, and we were starting to make projects and get to know each other. So while I was certainly sad, there was a lot of inspiration in the community to try and carry the torch and continue forth. And the blow was softened by Lego announcing like, hey, we're no longer doing sets. We're ending it with the stars, but the story will still continue, which it did for another. I mean, if you're counting just the serials, it did for, I think, over a year after that. But the main story continued for several months, like well into 2010. So there was still stuff to do. They actually, I think, handled it ending very well, and I don't think we've seen them handle the ending of a theme quite like it.
Yeah. In my own experience, I remember it was a very strange moment. I was I studied for the last years of high school in Mexico. We have a as a separate school, so uh, it was a very strange moment in my life. I really love Bionicle. Days of those days, well, I start to talk with the people who loves Bionicle as me or likes the toys or make mugs. But when I read the letter, I think I thought, yeah, this is a joke, only a joke. But when I saw the people making videos, complaining to Lego and say, why Lego? If I think, okay, this is serious. Also, I remember there was a very optimistic uh, behavior in the fandom because many people wait for the next saga and the conclusion of the series. Even there was rumors of a new batch of Bionicle stars, including an Exutoa.
I remember that rumor. Yes,
I
I remember
I
that.
I'd
yes,
forgotten
I
about
know
that.
it.
It was
I know
a
it.
fabrication, but I totally bought into it. I was like, oh, this is coming. It's gonna be another movie. It's gonna be like 12 of them, and some of them are gonna be bigger, and like you can put Tahu in the Exotoa. Like it was made by a BZ Power member named Tilius as a joke, but everybody bought into it. And yes, I'm outing you 14 years later.
Yeah,
It's nothing
but
personal. It was fun.
yes, also remember there was a lot of rumors. Even the people is talking with Greg Farstate to try to West God with the West what try to say, hey Greg, what with the new saga? If
Hmm.
Matanui fell in love with Kena or what happened? And when the letter arrived, many people say, oh no, this is the end. This is serious.
Yeah.
And Hero Factory, yes. I don't
Yeah.
like Hero Factory in the beginning
Hmm.
because I think, yes, I want Bionicle stars. And Bionicle stars never arrived to Mexico. Even there is a strange urban legend which say Bionicle stars arrived to Walmart for only two of the series. Only two toys of the series.
Only two of them.
Yes, is what it
Oh.
even some people say, oh, okay, I saw Bionicle stars in Sears or in another apartment stores. And
Hmm.
some friends told me that rumors, even some sites, is mostly like an urban legend. But Hero Factory was very, for me, I don't like the toys, but even some people say, okay, it's Bionicle Stars, it's Bionicle Stars Reloaded because it's the same design, simplistic, but when I start to see more images of the toys, I say, yeah, maybe cool works. Doesn't look very horrible as I think. My favorite character is Duncan Bulk and William Furno. Yeah, Furno is amazing.
They are very cool. Both me and LJ's favorite characters, I think, are Jimmy Stringer.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Oh
rock
yeah.
star. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
You
Oh,
ready? Born ready, Furno.
yes, but Hero Factory was a very controversial topic.
Hmm.
Also, I think another controversy with Lego Bionicle what was the Bionicle stars, because the people think, why? Why you give us a simplistic toy, not something complex? Why you are recycling the build a figure or build collectible as other toy lines, as Marvel Legends, DC Universe, or Lego in the past? Is more, yeah, in some way the people feels hostile for those reasons, maybe.
Hmm.
Even nowadays, I have for some toys of DC and Marvel toy. I feel I seen how the people is sometimes frustrated with the idea of you buy a whole series of a toy to have another toy which you love it, or instead of be, but buy this one separately.
Yeah.
But Hero Factory. So about Hero Factory, what's your opinion of the whole Hero Factory saga? When Hero Factory was the new Bionicle, but something which I missed. If any one of you, if or your friends have this weird theory of Ben 10 was the replacement of Bionicle.
Um, I know people had been talking about Ben 10 a lot back then, but I don't think anybody, at least in our group, believed that to be like a replacement. I think it was more an experiment. We viewed it as because it was like Lego was trying to have multiple construction lines running at one point, which hadn't been a thing for many years since Knight's Kingdom had existed. All eyes were very much on HF to kind of prove its worth. And
Yeah,
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think I was the only one who like really clicked with it. Like, feel
yeah,
free to correct me, LJ, but like you were kind of a fan of it ish. You enjoyed watching it at the very least, and you bought some of the sets, but you and a lot of other people very much kind of you were casual observers. Is that correct to say?
Um, I would say you and I were probably the most connected to Hero Factory simply because I remember us getting some of the figures and getting on call and talking about them and I mean doing like pseudo reviews and whatnot.
True.
Um, but I wasn't as connected to it as you were. But like you and I did a lot of videos together talking about it and talking
Yeah.
about like different things, different leaks, different games and upcoming items.
We were basically the only ones who were super
Yeah.
jazzed about
yeah.
it.
Yes, I need to confess something to public. A public. I was a Hero Factory fan. I really loved the toys,
Yeah,
and I love. Yes, I love the designs.
it was fun.
Yes,
I
even I
understand
have.
people not being super into it, considering, I get it, but
Yes, I.
it was still good.
Mhm. Yes. Also, I really love Hero Factory products. Even I have the only Hero Factory DVD in Spanish language, which is called the first and second season of the series.
Oh wow.
Yes,
That's actually really cool.
a fun fact about the DVD and the first Hero Factory series in Spanish, it was considered as lost media.
Really?
Really. I bought my. I remember I visited the downtown of my city with my dad, and we entered to a bookshop, and there we visit the DVD and movies section, and I found Hero Factory Rise of the Rookies in Spanish language.
Well, that is fantastic. That's a
Yes,
great find.
and during the lockdown, I talked with a person which is in Peru, which is making a project to save all the Bionicle media, Hero Factory media in Spanish language. I told them, yes, I have the DVD. I said, no, it's a joke. I I showed him a picture and said, yes, exists. And now the the Spanish language, the Spanish version is not a myth, is not lost media, it's founded.
That is
Very nice.
really,
Yeah,
really cool. Holy smokes.
yes, yes. Also about the Hero Factory, we arrived to the point of no return of the franchise. So, did you remember Invasion from Below and the return of Christian Faber?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was amazing.
For wait, which one? So like Invasion from Below or Christian Faber's Return?
Both of them.
Okay. Okay.
Faber's return is very cool. Invasion from below. I changing the voice cast kind of messed with my immersion personally,
Yeah.
but it was very beautifully animated.
Yes. About this point of no return, when Lego don't show any more Hero Factory toys during the toy fair, and some strange rumors appear in the Russian internet saying Bionicle will come back, a new generation, the spider villains. What was your reaction?
Well, we were very excited. LJ, I believe you and Var were the ones to make the first video, correct?
Yes, we broke the news to the world, much to
Yes,
the great chagrin of many.
yes, I remember the hype train.
Hype train.
Oh yeah. Yep. No,
Yeah,
we definitely we conducted that one. And it
It
was
truthfully was a wonderful time to be in the
exciting.
community. Yeah.
so when the toys were when Lego showed the toys during the New York Comic Con in 2014, which was your reaction?
I was extremely excited. There was so much to talk about, so much to theorize about. It was a very exciting time for everyone for sure. But we were all like really, really looking forward to the possibilities that lay ahead.
Yeah,
And it was just fun to think about what could be happening next.
It's difficult to really put it into perspective because, I mean, later on, I'm sure we'll talk about like our group and stuff, but we had only known each other really in an era where Bionicle had either been on its way out or was already dead. So the prospect of being friends with each other and having a podcast and having a YouTube channel during an era where Bionicle was alive, everybody was really excited at that prospect because we were able to kind of celebrate the return of something that was the cause for us all knowing each other. It was a very big deal, and
yes,
getting to see all the old faces we remember from the community kind of come back from inactivity and re-enter the community once more to be excited about the return. Super fun time. No matter how
yeah,
things went in the end, I'll always be grateful for that time.
yes. I remember those days. I have a delay to enter the university, so I take an English course, and I remember I get more and more involved with the Bionicle fan base in Spanish, and even I met my some of my friends personally. We are not more the surname as Master of Disaster or Toa of Chaos. We are more like a person. But when the rumors start to appear, some of we are getting contact on the WhatsApp, on Facebook, and say and exchanging all the rumors. Even when we meet each other in person, we only speak about the rumors and say, "Hey, did you believe is true or it's a hoax?" Yeah, we are obsessed with those ideas. Even we have some round tables speaking about the situation, even our weirdest theories as maybe the Toas will arrive in a new planet and they fought with the spiders or with the protectors.
Oh, those were the days.
There was a lot
The
of
days of
strange,
purity before it
yeah,
actually came out.
yeah, there was a lot of strange material on on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Stra- Weird theories, strange dreams. Yeah, even the I have the dream.
Yup, the
Ah, the dream.
Bionicle dream.
Yes. So we found, wow, this is amazing made person which can be have parallel histories. But when you saw finally the toy, when you saw the toys in the toy show, did you feel excited? Did you feel anxious, or how do you feel it?
non-stop excitement, especially like we're talking for the toys. Basically 100% excitement. The G2 line of sets, 2015, and to a lesser degree 2016, but still are like some of the best Bionicle figures like ever, and I'll die on that hill. It was
I'll agree.
incredible seeing them on shelves. I loved basically all of them. Lord of Skull Spiders, not the best, but he's endearing in his own way. But like all the Toa and all the protectors were great. The Uniters, pretty cool. The skull villains and the beasts, all right. The creatures were awesome. Very few like bad sets.
Really, yes. What about you, LJ?
Firmly agree. I was extremely excited for the sets when they were properly revealed. As much fun as it was to theorize, getting to actually see them and see where Lego was taking the identity of the theme next was a great deal of fun. And I think that first wave in 2015 absolutely knocked it out of the park. I know there was some controversy about a lack of detail on the figures, like not looking as mechanical as they did in 2000 in the first run. But I thought that they did a really great job. I thought they all looked really good as a cohesive unit. And I thought it was great. I thought they did really, really well.
I
Yes.
agree.
So in my case, it was strange because yes, as Mexico, Mexico what nowadays is one of the countries which more buy consume Lego toys. In those days, we have the failure of Hero Factory. We only, for example, Breakout, only a few toys arrived to the toy shops.
Hmm.
An Invasion from Below, Brain Attack, only and 5 or 6 toys were available in the toy stores.
Sad.
And finally, Invasion from Below, no Hero Factory toys.
None at all.
Yes, exactly, not at all.
Wow.
Only if you live in the Mexico United States border. So we only have the Chima toys, but not the final wave.
Yeah.
And that when Bionicle returned, all the fans we are gathered waiting for news about of Lego. Lego say, okay, Lego will be in Mexico with Bionicle toys, but only the toys only arrived on Walmart,
Uh
and the wave was incomplete. Sadly,
Huh.
only arrived Lords of the School of Spiders, the 6 toy, and 4 protectors. And later Lego say, okay, it's an experiment. If those toys have a good numbers, we will bring more Bionicle toys for all the Bionicle toys. In the
hmm.
during the school saga, Lego say, okay, you will have 4 schools for Mexico. No school arrived to the toy stores. So when you find a Bionicle in a Walmart, it was amazing because oh, Bionicle is back, Bionicle is back. But sadly, not all the Walmarts have the Bionicle toys. It
That is
was a
very unfortunate.
yes, and this situation will be retaken during the last days of Bionicle Generation 2. So, about the fan base, do you think the fan base will have a warm received from the new Bionicle toys, or the fan base was divided as in Latin America?
Very divided. People were very divided. I think the issues were, it was twofold. The first issue was the sets themselves, because even though me and LJ really like them, A lot of people did not. Like LJ had mentioned, people felt like there wasn't enough detail. The building system that was used by Hero Factory was called CCBS, and that was very divisive because people wanted the old style back where the armor connected via like pins and axles instead of clipping on via ball joints. A lot of people refused to accept the new Bionicle purely for that reason alone. That wasn't so much us though, or people in our community. In our community, the biggest issue was the story. That was what really caused the biggest divide, both in terms of our wider community and also internally among us in the TTV podcast as well. I remember the moment that I had a feeling that things weren't gonna go the way I had hoped was during an interview of the Comic-Con in New York City for 2014, where one of the people from the team mentioned that, oh yeah, the voice actor is really great. I love the voice he does for Pohatu. And I was like, oh, voice actor? Singular? Oh. Oh
Yes,
no.
I
And that was
remember
the
that.
moment for
Okay.
me where it all kind of like not to say I gave up. I still bought the toys. I still enjoyed certain things like the books or Journey to One. But from that moment on, I pretty much knew that it was going to be a more of a low budget offering. And my kind of hopes for Bionicle to get like a TV show or a movie or, video games were kind of dashed.
Yes.
LJ, what about you? Were you what side of that coin did you follow?
See, yeah, I was always very excited for new G2 material, but there was definitely a sense of disappointment when we realized some specific things, like you had just mentioned, the single voice actor for that material. The community was wildly divided on nearly everything in a way that I hadn't really experienced before, because the Bionicle community on BZ Power, when it had started the first time, was definitely, I mean, probably a lot younger, but also just generally more excited for Bionicle content, however it came in. I think the most divisive thing that I had seen the community react to was probably Legend Reborn.
Yeah,
But
the
outside of
Glatorian in
that,
general.
yeah, and the Glatorian as well. But
Yes.
aside from that, I think the community that had grown up grew to be a lot pickier and a lot more divisive about a lot of things, which
I'm guilty of that.
unfortunately that would only get worse.
Yeah, and I'm
Yes.
guilty of it back during those days. I was definitely very, very picky. But that's all.
Yes. Yes. I still remember that. One of the most one of the key points of the discussion on the WhatsApp messenger chats was the yes was the comic books, and say, okay, we have a single draw for all the heroes. Also, we have a single voice actor instead of have different voice actors. For example, the Korean version of the animated shorts have different voice actors, and
Really?
that was very, yes, really, that was a very problematic for us as Latinos, because okay, Lego wants more representation in the Latino toy stores. Why don't you make a Spanish version of these shorts?
Yeah.
And that is a huge problem. But usually some people return only to say goodbyes. Say, okay, I don't want these toys. Look good, great, but not my Bionicle.
Mm,
As not my Star Wars or not my Marvel. Yes, these
yeah.
civil internal wars in the fandoms. Uh, I I checking the list of questions which I made during the early negotiation of the interview, and I forget a very interesting factor. the second market of Bionicle. Yes, during the return of Bionicle, and speculation on Bionicle toys started, especially in countries which don't have easy access to second-hand toy stores or thematic toy stores, or the collectible toys are too expensive. Yes, I have plenty of experience in Mexico, but what do you think about that speculation on the Bionicle toys during the Generation 2?
About whether they're too expensive.
Yes.
It definitely was a problem. It's a problem with Lego in general, to be honest. That's a conversation for another day. But
Yeah.
it's only gotten worse. But even with Bionicle, it was slowly starting to get up there because, used to sets that were classified as, Titans or larger, more complex models costing $20. Well, now regular Toa were costing $20. And instead of being just a few sets in a given wave that had the Titan classification, now a lot of them did. Like you had 3 different Toa plus other sets, combo sets that could reach up to like $35 when all was said and done. On average, the cost to get everything went up a lot more than other years of Bionicle, which would have a lot of cheaper sets that a lot of times would sell for under $10, and then like a few larger sets. So it was definitely an issue, and it's only gotten worse. If those same sets came out nowadays, I bet that like Tahu 2015, for instance, would cost like $35. So that's my hot take. What do you think, Eldra?
I definitely feel that accessibility to a lot of sets nowadays, because you had mentioned the secondhand market. Accessibility is definitely a lot harder now, and I think we saw that ramp up with G2, like Mesa was saying, because a lot of secondhand stores and secondhand sellers are definitely charging a lot of money for older sets. Not every set. You can still get like a full collection of Mata, I think, for kind of a lower price, but it has definitely increased quite a bit over the years, and I don't think it's going to get better, unfortunately. It's just going to continue to, everything's going to cost more and more. And I do think that, kind of like what Mesa was saying, how the sets themselves started to cost more. I think the secondhand market also followed that trend to try and capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
Also,
which is a problem.
Yes, I think this will be a great topic because in Mexico, Latin America, we suffer of a speculation during the early days of G2. Some people travel to United States or Europe and bring the toys with them, and they make a second-hand market, and they gave a very high prices for those early released toys. Even people who are Bionicle fans are part of that problem during G2. Even there is a very interesting urban legend in Mexico City, which can explain some part of the phenomenon in some ways. Some people which I met, some friends or forum folks, told me about a guy who bought all the Bionicle toys in Mexico City. And the activity of that guy started, we originally believed the guy started during the lockdown.
Yeah.
Making memory and try to remember, maybe that guy started during G2 because we have our equivalent to eBay, a website called Mercado Libre, have Bionicles in very low prices. For example, Banfra with his canister, $8.
Whoa.
Even there is a really strange case. a Toa Matanui set was sold in $40.
$40.
Yeah, $40.
When was this?
It was in maybe 2 years before, 1 year before yes, maybe during the G2 started.
Wow.
There
That
was
is crazy.
yeah, that's crazy because in Mexico Bionicle is not it wasn't appreciated as a collectible. It's more like a yes, those toys which are bootleg of Transformers.
Yeah, that's unheard of. Something like that would be impossible now.
Yes, for example, in those years, the early Iron Man movies toys and all the Star Wars toys are considered as collectible toys, also Transformers. But Bionicle, it was ignored because Bionicle was weird in the collector circles. We are a strange minority.
Hmm.
So when G2 started, yes, the prices go high, 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 high into the skies. And
Hype train.
yes, also there was another phenomenon. In Mexico, we have sadly we have those guys, a YouTuber called Rodrigo Matt Hunter, which is making a strange business with vintage toys, and he give random prices to damaged toys from the 50s, 90s, 80s, and say, no, 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 it's vintage. This is the
Uh,
the coolest. Or in
it's
Mexico, we will
vintage.
say La Chida. And that
Oh,
guy make it, yes, he is even, I check in his videos, he started before G2 start, and the collector market changed it radical with the influence of that guy.
great. So it's his fault.
And nowadays,
That's awful.
Bionicle is overpriced. Even some people think a Matanui set with only a few piece missing is worth from maybe $40
Yeah.
because now it's rare. It's the coolest. It's La Chida.
But
Yeah,
the prices are ridiculous. I was looking the
yes.
other day, and on American eBay right now, there was a Toa set with like half the pieces missing or swapped out for alternate colors, and he was missing his mask, and it was still selling for 380, US dollars. And
That's insane.
Yeah, really insane. So we are arriving for another controversy. During the G2, we have Journey to One. And the people, after seeing this Netflix miniseries, the people say, yeah, I prefer The Legend Reborn. Yes. And some people say, The Legend Reborn is better, Journey to One is not good. But if we try to reach a middle point of neutrality, what's your opinion of the first Netflix miniseries of Bionicle?
Elder, do you want to go first?
Sure. No, so like most Bionicle related content, I enjoyed Journey to One, but it's definitely not without issue. And unfortunately, Journey to One had the main problem of ending G2 in the way it did. It unfortunately was just not a very good ending. Like, I'm glad that it ended and it was given a conclusion, but it was just handled in a way that was not very satisfying. That said, I thought that the voice cast was very good. I thought that the animation was really good. I thought the style had a really nice middle ground between Journey to One, or sorry, Legend Reborn and the older Bionicle films. And it was entertaining to watch. Where I think it really fell through was a lot of the direction kind of fell flat. a lot of the scripting was not as compelling as I feel it could have been. So to a lot of people, I don't think it lived up to what they felt was a high standard for the theme, for the franchise. But I don't think that it was as bad as a lot of people said that it was, right up until you get to the ending. Those final 2 episodes were very difficult to watch.
My opinion, short and simple. I actually really liked Journey to One. I think more than most. I would actually, I remember we were having these conversations. I was like, I think it competes with the movies. It may not reach the same levels in some respects, but like I was saying, the art style was really good. The animation was really good. There was a sense of like artistry to it. I do vastly prefer how it looks than how the Miramax movies looked. That's just my opinion. It did a lot of things right. I was very much happy. I was very much enjoying it. Like Eljay said, right up until those last 2 episodes. I can't recall a period where I've been so disappointed by a hobby. I think that there have been plenty of times in my personal life that I've been like more sad or when bad things have happened. But that was definitely a low point for the enjoyment of a hobby, was watching that when it came out, going to sleep, waking up and seeing like 2 paragraphs typed up on Bionicle.com saying that it was over.
Okay, so I remember when Journey to One was related. Yeah, another cultural curiosity. In Mexico, the at that point of the history, most of the Bionicle fans or the community, we don't have Netflix at all. After the G2 was finished, most of the people we have Netflix. It wasn't popular in Mexico, so we cannot mention the ways of which most of the people we saw the special, but general opinion, I think there is something good about Journey to One. Most of the fans we want a Bionicle TV series, such as Lego City or Ninjago, and I think this is one of the biggest or the best part of the show. Finally, we have our dream was achieved. Bionicle have a TV series. The other part, I think there is a problem because the history cannot permit to introduce a new batch of fans into the universe. Maybe why don't we make an introduction retelling the history of the previous stages of G2? Maybe the people which don't know what is a Bionicle, maybe they will say, okay, I have this kind of prologue or very very short introduction or resume of the franchise. Okay, I want to see the series. Maybe it will be interesting have this kind of a script in the working to the non-fan from the non-Lego consumers. But another problem I found is at this point of the franchise, Lego Ninjago was more popular. Even yeah, there was the whole Ninjago TV series at this for example, in my country was you can see watching Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu in Disney on Disney Channel, and the children know who is Lloyd, who is Garmadon, who are the Serpentines, who is Morrow, and all the characters. And when Lego's announcement Nexonites and say, we will have a Nexonites TV series on Cartoon Network, Bionicle have a clear disadvantage Netflix is at the on this point of the history is more like it isn't too popular, isn't the mainstream of the streamings. The streaming service only started as a global phenomenon, but Ninjago on the Nexonites have a huge exposition to the children. The children will see the cartoon, and they visit the toy store and say, "Okay, mom, dad, I want the Lloyd's Battle Arena, or I want the Nexonite Tower of Battle." But they say the Bionicle and say, "Who is that guy? And why this older guy is looking with with love those toys? I want my Ninjago Lego sets." Yes, that's a clear disadvantage of the area and the distribution of Bionicle.
Yeah, no, I mean it's tough to break into an established market.
Yeah,
I think that when something like Ninjago had so much of a market share and so much of a grasp on kids, you know, especially with how expensive Lego sets are, how many themes are you realistically going to collect? How many would kids' parents even let them collect? You know, it's probably pick your favorite, not have them all. And so Bionicle definitely got the short end of the stick.
yeah. So, did you consider this is the failure of G2, the marketing?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
What
Marketing was the
about
biggest problem. It
yeah,
should have launched with a TV show immediately, and that TV show probably should have been on actual TV.
yeah,
The fact that it didn't, the fact that it launched, you know, in the second year of its run, that harmed things because it didn't get to introduce itself to the world in that way. And then also, like you said, for certain people, Netflix wasn't super accessible. I mean,
yeah,
I know there were many problems with G2, but I think marketing is probably the biggest one, wouldn't you say, LJ?
Easily. Absolutely. They really dropped the ball when it came to the marketing. A lot of people did not know it came back.
Okay, so did you remember the idea to make a giveaway, making mugs, and the giveaway it was too expensive?
I remember a few giveaways. I remember the golden mask
Yes, the Golden Mask was
giveaways,
a very break point on the Bionicle franchise,
golden
accessible
mask of
for
jungle from Trash Can.
yes. Also, I remember the first Golden Mask, the exclusive spider. Some people argue it wasn't legal. The winner. There was a lot of controversy about the Golden Mask giveaways.
I do remember a bit of what you're talking about. The first mask, didn't some people insinuate it had been rigged or something?
Yeah, the quest
It
of the
was,
masks.
yeah,
Yes, the que-
there was some controversy that I don't know necessarily if it was a straight up rigging, but the winner of that did receive prototype pieces of G2 parts from
okay.
Lego that they
Yeah,
used in their winning entry.
Yes, exactly. I re
controversy.
I remember. Yes, one of if you ask me, maybe I will say what killed Bionicle in his G2, the controversies, not
Hmm.
the toys itself, the controversy.
Elaborate. Go on.
So we're gonna arrive, and finally arrive to the last questions of the first block. Okay, about the last days of the G2. So consider the past generation. How was the feelings of the fans? They consider with the most mature approach to the cancellation, or they are angry with with the controversies about the quest of the mask, Journey to One, or maybe it we need to accept G2 could be great, but maybe some elements doesn't work very well.
if I had to pick, because it's difficult to pick a single prevailing emotion with how complex everything was in the eyes of people in the community. But if I had to pick one just so we can have a conversation about it, it would definitely be anger. People were very angry, and I think they overdid it a bit with their anger because a lot of it got turned, where else is it going to go but to Lego or to the fans themselves. I know a lot of people had said that the fans were at fault because they didn't buy the toys enough. You should have put your money where your mouth is. A lot of people went angry at the people who did not want to buy G2 because of the CCBS system. A lot of people turned their anger at Lego because they canceled it. It was a whole mess, and it's kind of pervaded in the years since, because now it has filled a notion that Lego hates Bionicle and anything to do with it, when I don't necessarily believe that's true, to the point where even when Lego does anything remotely related to Bionicle, whether that's a sticker in a Lego system set or whether it's the Tahu and Takua gift purchase set, a lot of people in the community react to that very much with hostility. Like, you had your chance to bring it back and you did it poorly. Now it needs to stay dead, because you making references or homages to it is just like kicking its corpse. People were very angry when G2 ended. Was that your experience, Elder?
That's definitely what I've noticed. Yeah. Yeah. Some people, they had speeches about it.
Hey, I had a speech.
Yeah, you're some people.
But I wasn't angry though.
Yeah, I remember those years, or even days. There was very bizarre. The people was angry. The forums, which are crowded with joy and hope, nowadays are full of rage, are full of hate, angry,
True.
anger, sadness. It's like enter to the worst part of, yeah, it's maybe it was to the enter to the worst parts of the depression, because those most of the remnant people on the Bionicle fan base are nowadays are grown-ups, which some of them have jobs, are working, or are studying his bachelor, a master degree, and they have the hope of maybe my children will meet Bionicle and they continue my collection. They will be a new saga a new full saga of Bionicle toys. And when they know the reality of, yeah, Bionicle is not the number one of Lego nowadays. Nowadays, Ninjago have this place. I still remember how the people in the Latino forums say, "Hey, I gonna give as a birthday part, as a give birthday present to my cousin or my little brother or the son of my sister a Bionicle toy. I hope he could follow my steps in this beautiful world." Later, those guys say, "I hate Lego. Why Lego? Why you came back Bionicle and kill Bionicle?"
Yeah.
The most controversial part of all that is the new letter of Lego related to Bionicle. They say maybe Bionicle will bring back in another occasion. Maybe you will have a third generation. The people start to think, yeah, that is Transformers. We don't buy Transformers. We buy Bionicle.
Yeah.
I think another problem is the people is hardened. Some of them live the end of the first generation as children, as teenagers, and they don't understand very well what is happening. When his old friend returned to his home and say, "Okay, I don't know when we will see you again, when we will meet again, or if we will meet again under the the twin months of Matano Island. The people feel confused. It's too common in the fan base. For I can understand in some way because nowadays some people are angry when Disney try to erase the expanded universe of Star Wars, and nowadays Disney say, okay, we're gonna bring back elements of the expanded universe of Star Wars. Don't worry. But maybe we don't know how we're gonna put in the new saga. And yes, I remember my personal case. Uh, I passed a very difficult moment in my life. And yes, I feel very comforted with my friends, my Bionicle friends. But when the sad news arrived to us, we say, okay, maybe we need a final round table to discuss the future of Bionicle. The end of the round table wasn't happy. It was sadness. The people say, yes, we know the end is near, but maybe Lego will do something better. I still remember a lot of conspiracy theories, which the Bionicle fans believed during the before the end of the decade. The people say, "Yeah, maybe it will be another Bionicle, or Bionicle will come back for his anniversary, or the new Bionicle toys are ready." But those leaks were the Minecraft toys. There was a lot of disappointment. I remember in TTV Channel there was the Bionicle autopsy part about talking about the disappointment.
Yeah. There was a lot of disappointment, that's for sure.
We we examined all the Bionicle franchise in our experience, but it's time for the conclusion. But time for the most controversial question to the Bionicle fans. What's your opinion about CCBS? It's good. It's horrible. Could be. It will be better have a rebranding of CCBS, or maybe it's better Lego make another toy system.
See, to me, that isn't even close to the most controversial question, but I definitely think to many it is. I think it goes beyond CCBS a bit. Like I will address CCBS, but like it's such a phenomenon. I feel like for many people, it's not so much about, oh, this line uses CCBS, so it is bad. And it's more about this literally doesn't use the old pieces. This is bad. And we see that phenomenon even as recently as the gift with purchase Tahoe, which didn't use CCBS. But people don't really want anything new. People only want the old pieces. And that was very much on display with G2. People didn't like how it looked. A lot of people, I feel, have the Bionicle dream so much that they almost don't even want new Bionicle. They just want their old Bionicle to return, which is something that I genuinely feel. But yeah, a lot of people definitely did say CCBS was terrible and ruined everything. I was never one of those people. I like CCBS a lot. I am a CCBS defender, but it was a deal breaker for a lot of people, I guess, just because it wasn't the old.
Yeah, no, and I actually think CCBS is really good as a building system, just on its face. I understand that a lot of people were upset that a lot of the detail was lost. However, I'm distinctly aware that there are several people in the community that pointed out that G1 never had a distinct identity toward the latter part of its run, the first run, because you had a lot of sets, and the example that was always pointed out to me was Brutaka. You had a lot of sets that used pieces from waves that had distinctly different aesthetics, and they all just kind of meshed together in a way that wasn't necessarily cohesive, whereas CCBS is extremely cohesive until they started to introduce new pieces to the catalog that strayed away from that cohesion. So I think CCBS is really good. It's a super strong building system, but I understand why people have the grievance they do. I just personally I don't agree with it.
Okay, so yes. You can understand about the point about CCBS. Yes, I don't like CCBS at the beginning because I think, yes, I want the all Bionicle style pieces, but I want to see problem with Bionicle is sometimes the designs can be quite repetitive. So
True.
CCBS offer a new possibility of making different models, even more savage designs. The problem for me was maybe the overuse of CCBS in some parts. For example, organic beings as the Star Wars toys. Did you
Agreed.
remember? Did you remember this Uncanny Valley, Gene Erso, Ray, Han Solo?
It's difficult for me to ever forget those.
Even the most, even the most, yeah, the most
Sometimes I wake
uncanny.
up at night and I can still see Han Solo staring
Yeah,
at me.
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
even yes, I remember Luke Skywalker becomes in a meme.
Yeah, CCBS was not a good fit for everything.
Yes, for
Um,
example, if you took Grievous or Darth Vader, it was yeah, there was really good toys. Boba Fett, the Death Trooper, Short Troopers, yeah, the design fit on the CBS fit on the Star Wars aesthetics.
yeah, and those I really did enjoy. It's just
Yeah,
for a lot of people, those were the minority. I know a lot of people
also,
were very frustrated that Lego didn't do more figures like that, and I
mhm.
definitely agree.
Also another feature we can speak about why CCBS is really hated. The second series of Hero Factory, Order of Fire, introduced a system more like the Japanese model kits. Hero Factory tried to find his own identity, but some people don't like the idea of have different pieces, very unique building style, and you see how the Hero Factory returned more like the Bionicle style with Breakout in the Invasion, Brain Attack. The Lego designers know what the people want, but they are limited to create more and more and more closer to those old school Bionicle fans, which only want Bionicle flavor, not explore other flavors. The ice cream shop.
True. That is very true. Because one of the
Yes.
things I liked the most about Hero Factory was the 2.0 helmets that had the base attachments, and then you could also you could mix and match attachments on the central helmet piece, and that I thought that was a cool design. But they just completely they stopped it. They stopped it completely,
Yeah.
opting to return to the old way of doing things, and that was a shame because I liked it.
Yes, also another point which can be considered as the ending of CCBS. Maybe it was how the people received the toys. Yes, I still remember the memes about CCBS, average, yes, the average CCBS, the chat Bionicle pieces.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going around.
Yes, CCBS
Oh
offers
yeah.
something unique. For example, there are more durable pieces.
Thankfully.
Bionicle have the problem, and during the last days of the franchise, the pieces are more fragile.
Which is absolutely true and very
Yeah.
unfortunate. A lot of my parts have broken.
Also, CCBs have a very uncomfortable burden. Hero Factory use CCBs, and the people isn't happy with CCBS. Is not Bionicle is not using CCBS. Hero Factory using CCBS. Even in the middle of the Bionic Hero Factory franchise, some people still imagine one day Bionicle will return. And again, a lot of strange theories about how Hero Factory will be the return of Bionicle, and maybe Hero Factory and the Bionicles will fight, and Bionicle defeat Hero Factory, and Lego reconsider have again the franchise. It was a lot of weird and strange material, which maybe will kill CCBS.
Yeah, it's possible. Who knows why exactly? Because now, I mean, the parts don't even exist anymore. Lego's destroyed the
Yes.
molds for 90% of them.
Yes, also there are a lot of lost media in the Bionicle community, including all the hate speech against CCBS.
True.
Yes, if we're gonna checking what happened with CCBS, CCBS suddenly disappear of Lego toys, and we arrived to the maybe one of the yes maybe another controversial build system, the and the people is say yes, we don't like the brick figures, we want Bionicles. It's a destructive cycle, not a virtuous circle.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you are
so
absolutely right.
if we speak about that, it's time to make our verdict about the fan base. So consider the Bionicle, all this trouble on the Bionicle franchise. Did you believe Bionicle will have a we're gonna make a little bit of speculation. Is possible or plausible a third generation also? What could be the reaction of the fan base?
LJ. heavy
Honestly,
topic. What do you think, LJ Johnson?
I don't think that the current fan base would respond very positively to a Generation 3, because a Generation 3 that would exist, that would come into to being, would not be what it wants. Bionicle, if it were to return and it were to survive in the current market, would not be able to come back in the way that we have known it, because construction pieces, large, very specific parts, are not something Lego is looking to create in large quantity now.
Okay, yes, totally agree.
So it would either be a system theme, or it would be system adjacent, or it would be something that is distinctly not large parts. And as such, I don't think the majority of the current Bionicle community would be positively receptive to it.
Okay, so I think this is a very interesting topic, because nowadays, did you remember how many different cartoons, movie franchise, comic books were when Bionicle is in his peak? I still remember the maybe the so-called geek culture is more like an underground culture. The people knows who is Batman, who's Spider-Man, who is Hulk, who is Superman, but the people don't know who is Green Lantern, who is Iron Man, who is who is Hawkeye. and different characters which are introduced nowadays in the cinematographic universe. And an interesting point to speak, I think Bionicle won't survive in a in, a, in this environment of franchise, world of franchise. We have the new upcoming DC cinematographic universe. We are living the final days of Marvel cinematographic universe, and they are still popular as Transformers with his different reboots on the cinematographic universe. And the people nowadays want to see as unique and different a franchise of robots, which can be assembled, which can be moved with gearboxes or have elemental powers. Those stuff nowadays is mainstream. And Bionicle in his good days is more like a underground toys for kids, or the most representative thing of the underground geek culture. And nowadays, the people know lots about comic books for the movies, for the TV shows. The people is more exposed to the anime, to the science fiction. Uh, yeah, those days where Bionicle was one of the is the maybe the coolest kid and the unknown kid are gone. Maybe is one of the reasons of why Bionicle never come back after the G2.
It is
Lego,
possible.
yeah,
It's harder for it to inhabit a space when that's already saturated by so many prominent and well-known action characters.
My logic is because Lego doesn't, my theory is that Lego doesn't know what to do with it. I think
yeah,
that Lego, when they brought back G2, they got hit with a wave of criticisms that I don't think they were necessarily expecting. It was like, where's the world building? Where's the app game where you can walk around the island and talk to villagers? Where's the culture of the island, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? All things that people attribute to certain things in Bionicle G1, like the Matanui online game, something that Lego didn't make and had nothing to do with. I
yes,
think that on the whole, I think that Lego doesn't really. I don't want to say they don't get it, but I do think current Lego leadership doesn't fully understand what Bionicle is or how it became as popular as it was, or more accurately, what the community would even want from a reboot of it. And I
yeah,
can't really blame them because everybody seems to want something different. There is no real consensus. There's a lot of division in the community still. I think we saw that with the gift with purchase. Some people absolutely loved it and thought it was the coolest thing ever. Some people thought it was terrible and an insult and refused to engage with it.
yes,
It's difficult to please a group that is that diverse. And I think Lego might be like, well, why would we entertain this admittedly risky gamble when we could just make another year of Ninjago?
yes. Also, I agree with Meso. Also, nowadays, even the inactive franchise, they have a lot of material to sell to his fans. For example, yeah, last Airbender, this franchise produced a lot of books, a lot of articles from his fans, and Bionicle. Maybe if Lego, this in one point of his history, say, okay, Lego will be as our independent line, and we can brand it from not only toys, from different products. Consider most of our fans are becoming teenagers, or some of them are adults. Maybe it could be a cool idea to say Bionicle since generation one. But nowadays we are confronted a very different world. And yes, I lost the count of how many Minecraft toys Lego produces. Because yes, Minecraft is a very cool idea from the kids, and it's more easy to sell to say, okay, this is your world, you can build it, and nowadays it's a Lego toy, and
Yeah.
it's more easy to introduce to the kids, to the children, something well known or something which is popular nowadays. That's why Lego Marvel, Lego DC, it's still alive, despite the sets aren't good enough.
I would definitely agree.
So our verdict is not
I,
plausible a third generation of Bionicle.
I would love to see it. I just
Yes.
don't think we're gonna get it.
Also, there is a problem which I totally forgot. Have you ever seen the new articulations which Lego is used on the mechs?
Yes. The mech articulation is a big deal.
Yeah, and I think Lego is have a horrible problem with the articulated construction because since Ninjago they are killing points of articulation since Ninjago movie.
Yeah.
So Bionicle can, which is well known to be totally articulated toys, can fit in the new context. And the fans are some fans, or maybe most of the fans are very specific in his loved objects. For example, you cannot say, okay, that character will be the replacement of Han Solo or his spiritual successor. The people will say, no, we want Han Solo.
Yeah. Basically. I think that once upon a time, Bionicle thrived off of having a bunch of different characters. But nowadays, I don't think Bionicle could survive without the Toa. And even then, you know, it's hit or miss.
Yeah. Even I remember in the ideas of Greg Farshtey to finish Bionicle, and yes, I forgot to mention Greg Farshtey nowadays is not working anymore with Lego on some. One of the brains who make Lego Bionicle isn't anymore in the boat.
Yeah, that
So
is true.
remember about that. Greg Farshtey considered kill some characters and try to advance the history, even put Takanuba as the final and as the final hero, and forgot all the classical characters. Maybe if Bionicle survived, I don't know the fan base accept the idea of where Tahu eliminated, Gali eliminated, Jalor eliminated, because if you see the continuation of the history, Greg Farshtey is eliminated characters. So maybe if Lego continued, maybe the people weren't happy with Greg on the decisions of Lego. So
That's entirely possible.
see, yes, totally, totally. So this is our verdict of the first part. Bionicle couldn't survive nowadays, but also it was despite all the bad histories and all these accumulated rage and hate, it was a great experience be part of the Bionicle series in the Bionicle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As a conclusion, I will say the most thing I will love, which I love about this, my friends, which I met for Bionicle, also how Bionicle affected my life in the positive, in the sense of I want the idea to create histories, characters, or make or be interested in explore other ideas. So what about you, Meso?
I feel like I definitely agree with you. I mean, the TTV channel and the TTV podcast and the people in it that I've met have like transcended both generations. And this year was the 10th anniversary of the reveal of G2, the first leak and of the official reveal in like
Yeah,
2 months.
It was on these days.
Yeah. And Bionicle's gone, but the people I met through it are still here, and we still talk to them on a daily basis. So as far as I'm concerned, that's my takeaway. No matter all the bad, there was some good too, and that good matters.
Yeah. So what about you, LJ?
Excuse me. I definitely agree with Meso. I echo his sentiments, and I think that the entire journey has been remarkably transformative, and Bionicle is a very unique theme. And I might not necessarily agree that I want to see Bionicle G3, at least not right now, but I'm open to it. And if it does happen, of course I'm going to be there. I'm going to be involved in the community in some capacity and trying to be at the forefront of news and product releases and being a part of that excitement. So I'm curious to see what takes place now and see what's next.
04 is the worst year and the worst movie.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, now you want to make this a fight. Is that it, Meso? It's
Yes.
2v1.
Thank you so much for joining us together in this first episode of the TTV podcast interview.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I look forward to part 2.
So, in this, we're gonna make a little spoiler. We're gonna speak about the history of TTV and the relationship with the fan base. See you the next time in his favorite channel.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Again, we are gathered together, my gathered friends, to continue the exclusive interview with TTV Podcast. As the past week, with me are two special guests to this very tiny and humble interview TV show or internet show, whatever. Let me introduce Meso
Hello. Thrilled to be here.
and LJ.
Hello, Metro Nui. I always wanted to loud shout that.
Amazing. So let's continue with the second part. This is more personal because we are not gonna talk too much about Bionicle. We're gonna talk about TTV podcast and prepare yourself to finally know the history of one of the best Bionicle podcasts.
Aw,
Yes.
thank you.
You're too kind.
Oh my. Okay, guys, let's ready. So, let's discuss the following questions. So, in the past episode, you told me about you during the end of Bionicle, your TTV podcast started. So, can you tell me more about how the podcast started, or how was the early days of the podcast?
Of course. I'll take the lead on this one since it's all my fault.
That's correct.
Well, mostly. It's mostly my fault. So, long story short, between the years of 2001 to, I would say mid 2010s, bzpower.com was like the most prominent place for Bionicle discussion on the internet. It was like the big community hub. And while we were on that site, there were all kinds of groups and like fads that sprung up. And one of them was the Vaki fad, where people would like cosplay, quote unquote, as like Vaki and go around enforcing the rules of the website and basically acting as moderators. And that fad was actually started by Essinger to publicly like call him out. Essinger, it's your fault that TTV exists. Thank you, thank
Oh,
you. I'm glad to exist.
sorry,
He,
buddy.
he tweeted about that a while ago. He knows.
He
But
did.
it's really cool because through that I met some of the people who would be instrumental in TTV's early days. And then, through a friend of a friend of a friend, I got invited to a chat room that was run by one of our other members, Vin, who would later go on to do On eBay Today on the Mock Spotlight many years later. And through that chat room, I met LJ. I later met VAR. I met all the people from the early days of TTV. And then one day in that chat where we would all hang out every day, somebody asked, I think it was VAR. I forget exactly who asked LJ. Who asked you?
I think it was you.
Oh, well, I forget who asked me. I think it was VAR, but hey, do you want to join a podcast? And I was, how old was I at this point? I was like 12,
I mean, you're
12 years old.
perpetually 12. That came from somewhere.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
12 years old at that point. I was like, yeah, I want to join a podcast. And, well, I joined the podcast and it was called IBZP. It was the Independent Bionicle Zone podcast. And it was by members, for members, to contrast with the BZ Power staff that had their own podcast called BZ Powercast that was run by the moderators. So it was like we wanted to do something for the average members to talk about the goings on of the site and BZ Power and all that fun stuff. We did it for a few months. Bionicle ended. VAR kind of got sick of having to host every episode and edit every episode. There were some shakeups with the cast, and the decision was made to end IBZP and reboot it under a new podcast named The Three Virtues, which was going to be run by me, an up and coming guy with a lot of enthusiasm who hadn't been jaded like VAR was at that point. And then over the years, we changed the name from the Three Virtues to the TTV podcast. And the rest, as they say, is history.
All right. So this is the Down of TTV podcast, not Down of Justice.
Exactly. Yes.
Just as much fighting, though.
There was a
Yeah,
lot of fighting, mostly with LJ.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
So we are introduced to the Down of TTV podcast. Where about the other Bionicle creators? I remember since the past decade or 2 decades, most specific 2 decades ago, there was a lot of Bionicle creators, but most during the end of Bionicle, some of them are leaving YouTube and only a few survived. So, what about the other creators or podcasters, animators, creators, 3D designers, and 3D printers or custom creators and mockers? How is your relationship with those guys? Is good, bad, amazing? There are some great people, but some people who is not too friendly. Can you talk about this aspect of the Bionicle community and you and TTB?
In the modern era or back when we started?
Okay, let's start with the prequel, the early days.
LJ, you want to take this one?
Wow,
on
you would.
on both fronts.
Sure. Back in the day, I think we definitely we ran into some issues with a handful of creators, but when it came to the YouTube side, we were pretty friendly with those that we interacted with. We didn't do a whole lot of crossovers, collaborating with people, but whenever we did, we generally got along with people, and a lot of those relationships are still solid today. Namely that with Biosector 1, the most accurate Bionicle Wikipedia. Suddenly Oranges is a good associate of ours. we did run into a couple of issues with some people that we don't talk to now. It's not like we're holding a grudge or anything, but you know, we just don't have any reason to engage with them at this rate. For the longest time, we had a bit of a mixed relationship with BZ Power with a handful of their staff members. But as time has gone on, everyone has grown up and come to a better understanding. Our relationship with BZP is actually pretty good, which we're really happy about. In the modern age, I don't I don't have the best idea of how we are viewed and how we are with other groups and communities, with a handful of exceptions. There is another website which I hesitate to say it's a large website. They don't have a lot of activity in terms of user engagement, but we do not get along with them. They have made very clear that their interest in us is purely what they can gain from their association with us. And as a result, we absolutely refuse to associate with them. Their members, their leadership has been extremely antagonistic to us. One of their leaders a couple years ago threatened to break my knees. We absolutely refuse to work with them under basically any circumstances unless we know that they're not going to try and railroad us for any given reason. But that's just that, to my understanding, is more of an exception to the rule. But aside from that, we aren't really interacting with a whole lot of other creators in the space outside of Suddenly Oranges and Duck Bricks. And we're on really good terms with both, which we're really happy about. They're both fantastic people.
Yeah, the
Wow.
thing to keep in mind about like our history and kind of like where we are now in terms of interacting with people is back during the early days of our group, especially with the YouTube side, I would say we were very much on an island. Not a lot of us do stop motion. The only one who's ever really messed around with it was Vin. And not all of us were like hardcore mockists either. So we didn't really collaborate or interact or even know closely too many of the people from the old guard of YouTube. We were really friendly with a Shadow Gear 6335. He was one we talked to back in the day, but other than him, and like Elder said, Suddenly Oranges, I can't even really think of many people on YouTube we even interacted with. All the
Yeah.
people we were super familiar with came from the forums or BZ Power or BSO1 or that whole sector. And there are a lot of talented people in the community who are still active today. And I hold their work in great renown, especially like you said, the 3D modeling community, the 3D printing community. All of those people immensely talented at what they do, and they're helping to keep Bionicle alive. Um, I imagine we'll talk about the community more, but in terms of our relationship to it, I think that it is a shame that we are not on good terms with certain large community hubs. It's mainly because of the canon contests and people's reactions to those. If you enjoyed our attempts at doing the canon contests, you probably like us. And if you don't or didn't, then you probably hate us. And there is no middle ground.
Doesn't
So
seem to be.
there does
Yeah.
not seem to be, but there are plenty of talented people, and I respect them a lot.
Wow, this is amazing. This is a large community of people. For example, in
Yeah.
Latin America, we don't have that. We don't have it. Only there are a few creators. Mostly they are inactive because they have their jobs. Sometimes they are in the still in the university. And Latin America is more well known in the by the Lego influencers. Yes, the
Mm.
mainstream Lego influencers, not the people who can introduce you in the world of Lego or in the different Lego universe. And the creative part is more related to the 3D print aspect. So, for example, in some way, I can, I we don't have that complexity of people of work, but I have a surprise for you,
Okay.
or bot. before the lockdown, I tried to make something interesting about the Bionicle fan base. Try to join with the other creators and maybe make a movie to say thank you Lego for Bionicle, or maybe
Okay.
create an alternative ending. But yes, about this proposition, I create a prop, but it's not the typical Nui stone of 3D print
Okay.
or soft clay. Let me show into the camera
Oh wow.
That
with
is
Oh, that's
awesome.
very cool. What is that? What is that made of?
a river stone.
Oh
Really?
wow.
Yes, I have a second one. It's more accurate to the Masks of Light design.
Those are great.
Fantastic.
Yes, it's infinity
Man.
because my moto tool is not enough powerful to carve this stone. This is more harder.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's
That,
awesome.
that that does make sense, but that's fantastic that you have multiple of those. I want to get a stone of that sort to display, but I'm definitely not skilled enough to make one myself. I was gonna buy some when I know Essinger was selling some a while ago, but I didn't have the money to buy them at the moment. But that's very cool that you made your own. It looks fantastic.
Those are
Yes,
great.
yes, it's amazing. I made some as a batch of smaller ones, and I get to my closer friends in the Bionicle fan base.
Aw,
That's
it's very
fantastic.
cool that you're spreading that around.
Yeah,
Power of creativity. It's what's keeping
yes,
us alive. Lego sure
yes,
isn't doing it. It's up to us.
yes. So, as I heard, you mentioned about the PC Power controversy. So, did you have a good relationship with BC Power nowadays?
Yes, it is much better. I think back, like Elder was alluding to, back when the issue, I mean, quite frankly, we were young and we were immature, and there was a lot of sentiment from people on BZP at the time who didn't really understand the staff's rules, felt they were too strict, didn't really like the attitude of some of the moderators. So it was common, especially in chat rooms, talking about BZ Power to kind of, gather around the campfire and kind of smack talk BZP and be like, yeah, the moderators suck. We're the ones, we could do things better. And now it's 2024 and we've had the TTV message boards for 10 years and we get it a lot more now. I think I speak for both myself and LJ, but I'm like we sympathize a lot more with the struggle that it must have been to man and operate BZ Power during Bionicle's heyday and deal with all manner of people. Some people who were polite, some who were not, some who had attitudes, some who did things to break rules and all sorts. And yeah, I have a lot more respect for what the staff went through back then, and we are on much, much, much better terms with them, especially at conventions and the like. We see them around, and they're all very cool, hardworking people. I know LJ's done a
Mhm.
few events with them, right? Like at BZP, sorry, at Brick Fair, like with that with Andrew from BZP.
Yeah, no, I've done a couple of events and I'll chat with a bunch of the BZP staff, and they've always been extremely nice at Brick Fair, really pleasant to talk to and really helpful and collaborative. And uh, it is genuinely impressive what they were able to create with BZ Power. It is absolutely no exaggeration to say that BZ Power was the most important Bionicle fan website that has ever existed, and they have done a great job over the years. But it's you know back in the day, our grievances with BZP, a lot of it did stem from immaturity and ego and things along those lines. Not to say we did not have valid
Of
criticisms
course.
and we weren't, and some of our issues were unfounded. Like we had good reason in some situations to disagree with them, but yeah, our relationship with him is a whole lot better now, and I'm very happy for that.
Even a lot of the decisions that we did disagree with, and even if I still do, I can look back with the benefit of hindsight, and I kind of understand, especially with the canon contests and stuff, trying to please everybody, trying to come up with rules to account for every single instance of someone trying to break them. You know, it's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
Oh yeah,
So
and
mistakes can happen.
by and
Yeah,
large, they were very lenient with us. They were very patient.
exactly. So,
I'll always be thankful to them because without BZP, I would not know any of these guys in TTV. So I owe a
yes,
lot to that
exactly.
website.
Yes, exactly. BC Power is one of the most important Bionicle website and forums because even in Latin America, most of the active members of the fan base, we discussed about BC Power news, the reviews, and all the stuff which was or nowadays is posted in BC Power. It's very important, and BC Power can gather people.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about the members of the crew, of the TTV crew. So nowadays, how is your relationship with the other members of the crew?
You want to take this one out?
Sure. It's the same as it's always been. We're probably in the best spot we've ever been. We're all still really good friends. We've added new members to our group that aren't really members of the channel, but more just members of our friends group. Like we we get along well. We talk at least in chat every single day. Um, yeah, no, everything's going well.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
I think that it should be stated that sometimes people do kind of drift off as life takes them in different directions. Like we used to talk every single day, all day when we weren't playing games, then we were doing channel videos, or we were making podcasts, or we were making machinimas. Nowadays, we have lives, we have families, we have significant others, we have careers. We're busy. We do not spend as much time with each other as we used to. And some of us that used to be in the group all the time have kind of faded away. But we still keep in touch every now and again. And we're in an era where I think we've lived so much with each other and we've lived through so much with each other that I think even when we disagree about things, we all just we get each other. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
We get where each other's coming from. We've practically grown up alongside each other when you really think about it. We've known these guys for like 15 years this
Yeah.
year.
I mean,
So
shoot, Meso, like you met everyone at what, 11, 12?
yeah, it was 15 and
So
a half years ago.
that's over half of your life. That
Yeah, I'm only 26 right now, so
Yeah.
so yeah, I love the guys from TTV. They're all wonderful. They're great.
And so we speak about the good things about TTV channel and your experience with the other members. But did you have some bad experience or experience which can be considered as horrible during the lifetime of TTV channel?
Oh
Oh yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Tur-
yeah.
Turns out we should make this a formal rule, Mesa. We're not gonna have anyone whose name or username starts with a K and ends with an I.
It's
We've
just
had
bad
two.
luck.
It's just not good. We don't have a good track record.
It's only happened twice. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird that it happened twice. There,
Okay.
I would say there were two notable instances of a really bad instance. Not to say we never had other bad instances, but typically, in the early formative years of the podcast, we were still ironing out kind of the core members. People would come and go. People would join, they'd be here for a few months. It wouldn't work out. Maybe there'd be a fight. Maybe they would leave. But that person wasn't exactly ingrained into the group's DNA. You know what I mean? We hadn't spent years with them. So it was easier to deal with that. And you'll notice if you listen back to a lot of our earlier podcasts, some people would just vanish abruptly. You know, some people were in 10 episodes, then they would leave. Some people were in 5, then they would leave. You know, that just happened as we were figuring out our group. But if you're talking the core tightly knit friends group that developed, there were 2 big instances. LJ, you want to take one and I'll take the other?
You want original
I'll,
or
I'll take original.
okay? All right, I'll take other then. So the first instance was a member of ours by the name of Kahi. His actual name is Jonathan Juan, but he goes by Kahi online. Nowadays, he goes by another name, J.J. And he had been a member of TTV for since at least 2011-ish, 2011,
Yeah.
2012-ish.
Somewhere around then.
Yeah. And he was very influential in a lot of the creative decisions that we made. You know, like kind of the identity of the channel, of different aspects of podcasts and stuff like that.
He was specifically integral to our, I would say, corporatization, where we really stopped becoming like a group of friends making Bionicle content and more like, we are the TTV channel, a YouTube network who, you know, wants to be very corporate and run a company and do all this kind of stuff. That was very much his influence.
Yeah. And eventually, see, we had, him and I especially had a lot of interpersonal conflict. I didn't believe that he was a good person, and he saw me as a consistent thorn in his side. So eventually, he concocted a plan that essentially manipulated everyone else into having me removed. So I was kicked out, and he continued to act as not a good person after I was removed. And eventually, that came to light and he was removed, and I, after 7 months, returned, and things have been pretty good since then. But
Yeah.
that was a pretty difficult time for the group. I don't know if we've necessarily healed fully from that, but we've made great strides.
We never, as friends, we have healed. As the TTV channel, we have not and will never heal. At least not under the TTV channel branding, because that kind of, it was the moment where things ground to a halt. You know what I mean? There was an interpersonal turmoil. It got resolved and we healed as friends, but the YouTube channel was definitely a casualty of that. Anybody who looks at our uploads will notice around 2018, that was when things started to peter off. And that's a direct an analog as to why was that instance.
Yeah.
But it's for the
Okay.
best, because so long as we're solid as friends, that's what matters.
we discussed the history of Kahi, one of the most maybe disturbing moments in the Bionicle fan base. Yes,
It was pretty
the
bad.
yes, the accusations against Predak don't count. That not is not really disturbing. Yeah, fun fact. If you remember, if you are Bionicle fans, maybe you remember some parents said Predak has blood in his body.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
True.
Lego
I feel-
said no, they are natural spots because he's a wild animal in some way.
Feels like a lifetime ago that was the biggest controversy going on.
Yeah.
So
Well,
So-
there was one other story,
yeah,
and I would say it's
Meso told
much
us.
it's much smaller, and a lot of people probably don't know it, but it's more recent and it's also more infuriating. And it is one of our earliest members, one of the 2 people that I met in that Vaki group that I was talking about back from the days of BZ Power, and his name was Keeney. Keeney, a lot of people who know us might not have ever even heard his name because he was never really a part of the TTV channel. I think in our entire history, I don't know how. I imagine you probably have a better idea than I do, LJ, because you crunch the numbers on things. But I would be willing to bet that Keeney was never in more than maybe 10 videos on our channel.
Well,
Um,
he was a part, well, unless you count the TTV podcast, because he was a part of 26 podcast episodes.
well, there you go. I'm wrong. So that's more than I would have ever expected for Keeney. But see, that's why I go to you for the statistics and the facts.
No problem.
Yeah, so he was in some stuff, but he kept a very low profile presence. He would tend to get really busy in his life or get disinterested with the Bionicle community or our channel. He would just vanish for like 7 months or so, and then randomly come back one day when he was bored or had more free time, and we would fill him in on everything that he'd missed. We played a lot of Halo with him, a lot of Mass Effect, a lot of Destiny. He was a good friend of ours. Played a lot of video games with him. Good trusted friend. When we did
Until
the canon contests, which was an initiative we started in 2020, I believe, LJ,
Yep, that's correct.
to work with Greg Farshty and to bring canon contests back to give official appearances to characters from the Bionicle story who never received appearances, such as Helrix, Artaka, the Toahaga, etc. When we did that initiative, Keeney was basically the third person who really helped us a lot. He helped us behind the scenes. He would post on the TTV message boards in like a moderator capacity. He would help hash out rules, etc., etc., etc. Our falling out with him was not near as exciting as the one with Kahi. It can be summarized quite simply as Keeney would join other Bionicle community Discord servers and paint himself as a relatable person by smack talking us, basically. Like he's the cool TTV member who will say it how it is and who will criticize LJ and Meso, who will spill secrets from behind the scenes about how TTV actually works, how they are with each other, etc. Leak DM conversations between me and him, and generally ingrain himself in those communities by disparaging his friends. I would love to tell a reason why he did this. I still don't fully understand to this day, other than a very profound dislike of LJ because of things that happened when they were like 11 years old. You fired him at one point
Which is hilarious.
back when the group started, and I don't
See,
think he ever fully forgave you for that.
which is crazy because that was like when we had been doing the podcast for like, I don't know, a few months. And
Yeah,
B, I was the messenger. It's not like I could do that unilaterally.
yeah. It all came to a head when Keeney he said some things out of context conversations, posting out of context screenshots to try to paint a very negative view of LJ in the public eye, to try to paint him as someone who was like kind of an egomaniac who thought of himself as greater than everybody else. Was a very targeted smear campaign against LJ. And I think he genuinely felt that way. I don't think he was lying or whatever. I think he genuinely felt that LJ was just a bad person, or at the very least, had done bad things. And it got so bad, he cut ties with everyone in TTV, including the rest of the group who had nothing to do with the canon contests at all, who also were his friends, who he basically just threw away because I really couldn't tell you. Um, it's not nearly as exciting, but it cuts a little deeper for me, maybe because of recency bias. But people talk about the canon contests a lot and how certain sections of the Bionicle community do not like us anymore as a result of them. And quite frankly, that doesn't really bother me because I value my friends and those close to me and what they think of me. But it does very much bother me that Keeney somehow turned against us to the point where he outright refused to talk about his personal grievances with us and would instead air them out on Discord servers.
Okay.
Sorry to dump all that on you, but those are the two biggest negative spots, I would say, in our history.
Yeah, Kenny. Yeah. Yeah, Kenny. Oh man.
That's my
Kenny.
side of the story, anyway. That's how
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah, Kenny sounds like a very disturbed person or confused.
Per his own words, an exact quote, he said, I think being in the Bionicle community has made me a worse person. That's how he
Okay.
felt. I don't
Yeah,
agree, though. I think that the Bionicle community can be a wonderful thing if you choose to let it be.
yeah. I know a lot of some weird and disturbing histories about the Latino fan base. And
Really?
some people are make the same than Kenny. I remember a case of a person, a Chilean fan who was the owner of one of the biggest forums in the Latino fan base. So he hacking other forums.
Oh, jeez.
Also, during the Bionicle revival, he started to pose as other persons and send malware to doxing the person and post the DMs, messages, and try to destroy the fan base.
Oh,
Jeez.
oh, so you've definitely had your own terrible situations then.
Yes. Did you know
Wow.
the term lolco?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy was a loco because he make a lot of weird things. He took the groups, the fan pages, and post really, really disturbing stuff in the. Maybe he tried to shut down the fan pages and all the spaces created by other fans, which cannot be joined to him or them because until now we believe some people which are my friends we believe that guy have more people help him.
Hmm.
Did he
See,
just do it for clout or?
yeah, why
Yeah,
did he do it? Did he ever say a motive?
yeah, we don't know because that person it was too random.
Wow. See,
Dang.
LJ, at least our biggest problems were mostly private. Mostly. I guess not really in some cases, but at least they didn't try to take down the entire fandom.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Yeah, I can say until now that guy start a kind of paranoia Cold War state during in some Bionicle Mexican fans and in the group which I was a member in our private our private club to speak about Bionicle.
Wow.
Goodness.
There are some people discuss who was that guy. Even some people say, yeah, maybe he used a surname called Amigo Pescadito or my tiny little the tiny fish friends. It's too random.
That sounds bizarre,
Yeah,
genuinely.
also use the rookie fish image as his avatar.
Well, hopefully he stays gone.
Yes, I hope he is gone because it was so disturbing what he does. He did in the fan base.
Sounds like it. Wow.
So this our Latino Bionicle horror story.
That's awful. Well, I'm glad that it's at least over now. Like that is a relief.
Yeah. So this is like a roller coaster. We're gonna discuss something happier. So
All right.
I check in your videos and you have the chance to visit different Lego and Bionicle events or conventions. Can you tell us how did you feel travel around United States and seeing or take part in those events?
Yeah, I mean, LJ, you're the best one to speak here because you've been to the convention in particular the most.
No. See, I don't think this is specifically for Brick Fair because quite honestly, I mean, he is right. We've gotten a chance to do a lot of different events and things as a group. Meso,
That's fair.
you and Var went to the reveal at New York Comic Con when Bionicle came back.
That is true. That is true. I
Um,
didn't immediately equate those things, but that does
uh,
count.
yeah. Additionally, what was it? Lego Live? Was that what it was
Yeah, a
called?
very short-lived, up-and-coming Lego convention, like managed by Lego themselves, by which we went out to New York City to promote a line called Lego Boost, which was an offshoot kind of companion service to Lego Mindstorms, dealing with app-controlled, remote-controlled like set designs. And we promoted the theme there and had a booth and a panel, and that was fun.
Okay, so as every good convention, there are celebrities. What? How incredible is meet the Bionicle or Lego celebrities such as Greg Farstey, the Bionicle DC comic illustrators, maybe the Nickelodeon actor or another relevant people from to the Lego world.
Um,
Well,
as far as actual like celebrities like Matthew Awald, such a nice guy. I don't have enough nice things to say about him. He is so friendly and positive. It was a joy to get to like direct him. Like you can't see, but I have air quotes, like direct him for a skit for a review that I did. He was just such a blast to interact with, and he always is. He's great. As far as everyone else that we've interacted with, the other professionals like Greg Farshti, Carlos de Anda, um, uh, Christian Faber, everyone has been so swell. All the professional artists and creatives behind Bionicle, they have been simply wonderful. It was a great joy of mine to get to be a part of the creators panel to mainly host it. Um, it was it was fantastic. Everyone there was awesome. It was truly an honor to be a part of that.
I agree with everything you just said. I think an important distinction is that unfortunately, at least so far, typically at the in-person Lego events, conventions throughout the country, we've not gotten to meet too many people from, the Bionicle world itself. A lot of our chances to interact with those individuals, such as Christian Faber, Greg Farshdi, Carlos D'Anda, Randy Elliott, all of them, it has been through online conventions, interviews, stuff of that nature. There haven't been a lot of people actually showing up to Brick Fair, for instance. Not yet, anyway. Could always change. That would be cool.
Yes,
But so far, they've all been wonderful.
Yeah.
yes. About that point, I have a curious history about Carlos Dianda. He's he born and raised and was raised in a Mexico state, which is more near to Mexico City, my province. So when he returned to Mexico to sing, to give sing or make illustrations in a comic book con called La Mole Comic Con or the Thing as Ben Grimm,
Oh, that's
he
cool.
he had a huge crowd of people wait for his job. And I was the only one person who want to say thank you. I really love your job, your work in Bionicle comic book series. The other guys want his signature for Batman comic books. Yes, the first Batman
Really?
Arkham Asylum series.
Oh, wow.
That's actually extremely surprising. I forgot that he did other like comic books for like DC, like Batman, but
It makes
huh.
sense.
Yeah, but still, I know him so much as like a Bionicle guy, and he was also part of that founders interview. Such a nice guy, so nice, extremely charismatic. He was great.
I remember some people have some a canister with his signature.
That is awesome.
But I bet it
I
made him
don't.
very happy to see someone recognize him for non-mainstream, quote unquote, work. Even though the Bionicle comics did get massive circulation.
Yes. Uh, Give me. I try to find something very important to that point, because if
Okay.
we're gonna speak about the Lego conventions, usually, for example, in Mexico, we this year we have maybe one of the first with important guests as the voice national voice actor from Ninjago's Lego Ninjago's Jay and Zane.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
cool.
So that was too important because in the past, usually the people want those kinds of people, not YouTubers. So uh, I have the signature of those guys, but a bit more. I only have one of the articles which with the Ninjago signatures. This is maybe one of the Lego t-shirts.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
Jay
awesome.
and Sane.
That is fantastic.
Yes, my some friends say, "Hey, I want to see that knockoff Lego car," but say, "Okay, I give it to me in the event." But I only have a Sane minifigure, a Ninjago movie Sane minifigure with the white uniform, and I don't have nothing more than this car. And yes, nowadays this is a Lego, one of the Lego T-shirts of my personal collection.
I mean,
That
hey,
is
that's
super cool.
that is very fantastic and definitely something to treasure.
I hope one day I have a chance to interview Greg Farshti and try to me more know about the creative process of Bionicle and his personal life, because I think he can tell us more and more something interesting. But yes,
Oh yeah. No, Greg
He's
is
about
a
wonderful to talk with.
genuinely fantastic person.
we come back to the fan base. So one of the biggest events of the recent Lego history was the Lego movie, and later Lego Ninjago movie, Lego Movie 2, or the sequel. How was the reaction of maybe the interaction with the Lego community about the movies?
Well, most people who watched them loved them, and most Bionicle fans who watched them were bitter that Bionicle wasn't more in them. That's really, I mean, that's my primary lens, was observing them from the context of the Bionicle community. A lot of people were angry that it wasn't a big part. A lot of people were angry at its small reference in the first movie, and even more so that Takanuva was going to be in the second movie and then got scrapped. But the movies in general, universally acclaimed, and they
Yeah,
are all fantastic. And most people tended to agree. Ninjago movie a bit more divisive, but you know, I still liked some things about it. What about you,
yeah,
Elger?
Oh, I thought the Lego movies were outstanding. Most of them were outstanding. And I didn't mind that Bionicle wasn't a bigger part. I thought the fact that they even thought about it and included references in half of them, I thought was really cool. Uh, so yeah, no, I think they're great, and I think a lot of people kind of blew out of proportion the fact that there wasn't more Bionicle in them.
I agree.
uh,
They're very good.
um, yes. Okay. In TTV, there was something which someone or a group which say, "Wow, maybe a Bionicle movie will be great." Did you have that kind of discussions between your friend, the TTV circle, or with the fan base?
We've definitely had the conversation, and I think seeing a big budget Bionicle theatrical movie would be incredibly cool, but we're all pretty much at the same page. I mean, you couldn't do it in the Lego movie style. not
Yeah,
visual
no.
style, but necessarily, but in, the presentation, because the Lego movies, they present a very meta view of Lego. They have real life segments that present Lego's role as a creative building toy and have analogies to different relationships between parents and children, between siblings, etc., etc. I think Bionicle couldn't really do that. Bionicle would need to very much be all about its own story, and I don't think it would quite translate to that format.
Okay, I discovered something. No, when you told about that, it was quite funny because I consider make a college project with Bionicle and try to, yeah, maybe make something more savage than the typical Bionicle YouTube stop motion series, and try to try to explore the idea of Bionicles, that Bionicles discover they are toys,
Oh boy.
and they discover they are only alive because the guy is moving their parts and they are part of the movie, and a movie which can be projected in a college, in Mexican college
Okay,
class.
but that
Yeah,
that sounds fun and creative. You know, the
Yeah.
idea can work, and exploring it in the way that you did sounds like it worked fine. I mean, even reviving Bionicle by Suddenly Oranges kind of deals with those themes of
yeah,
Bionicle characters as toys dealing with the franchise and its current state. It's just that kind of a project, you need to already be a fan to understand it. And if they tried to do a theatrical movie, it would need to be marketable to people that,
yes. Maybe
haven't already known it.
it will become as the Truman Show Bionicle movie,
There you go.
and it will be the bizarrest Bionicle movie made by a fan trying to revival his his loved
So true.
franchise. All right, about the Bionicle fan base and relationship with TTV during the pre-revival of Bionicle. One of the most prized websites and YouTube channels was TTV for the information and how quickly the people can get the access. So, what happened during the ending of the Generation 2? The people start to leave the podcast, start to leave the website, or try to find a way to express with you or all the members of the crew about why they feel about G2?
Well, I'll tell a little bit and then I'm going to hand it over to LJ, but about how we feel about G2, that was an emotional period almost of grieving. I would say that we all kind of went through. I was very much the guy standing on the roof saying that the sky was falling throughout most of 2015 and 2016, kind of like the first time, LJ.
Yeah, you were very negative, yes.
But, I felt that the writing was on the wall and I was sad about how things were going. And, I think I fought with a lot of people because they didn't see it quite yet or they believed things could get better. And I very much felt like they weren't going to get better. Um, but when it ended, we all kind of went through that grieving process. And then, I mean, the year of mid 2016 to mid 2018 was a very interesting time, LJ. What happened in the wake of G2's cancellation?
Oh, well, the Ninjago movie came out.
I mean, that was
Oh,
one thing that happened.
wait, no, you're right. And I finished the recent reviews.
That did happen too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and I got fired, Mesa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was during that whole period. It was a very inflammatory period, and we had put a lot on Bionicle G2. I'll put it that way. We had bet a lot on it, and we were enjoying doing YouTube, and we liked having a community of people that watched our stuff, and we liked being a source of news. And when that went away, we didn't really know what to do. And we were processing G2's ending, and we got that art book, the Bionicle art book, and we were inspired by one of the drawings in the art book to create a project called Brickonicle. LJ, what was that about?
So Brickonicle was kind of a homegrown pitch to suggest that Bionicle could be done in a Lego system format, so with bricks and minifigures. And it was kind of a fun, creative project to kind of come up with the concept and make it a fully fledged idea and pitch.
It basically took over the podcast for about a year before spinning off into its own separate podcast called Brainstorm.
Yeah.
All right. I still remember that. Also, I remember the Bionicle Generation 2 pitch, which is the Matoran Civil War.
Oh,
Yeah,
yep, I
it
remember
was.
that.
And
What
I mean,
happened with that project?
well, it was a bit divisive for a few reasons, Elge. I know you weren't the biggest fan of it always.
Yeah, I had some issues with it, but they were personal problems with the direction it was headed and how it was being handled. Because I thought I had an understanding about how it was going to go, and I thought we had agreed on that, and that ended up not being the case, which I thought was a bit of a personal slight, considering Kahi was heavily involved in it.
Yeah. The issue from a presentation point was it was a long show. The episodes were 1 hour, 2 hours long. And for someone to be up to date with the project, they would have to watch every episode. Because if you missed one episode, I mean, we were brainstorming things on the fly. So you could come back and just be completely lost as to what we had planned in the last week's episode. And it was a lot. It was very dense. It wasn't really a good format in terms to present those ideas because eventually it just got very bloated and very confusing. And I think some people in the community didn't like a lot of our ideas. Some people didn't like the specifics. Some people were resistant to the idea of the Toa as minifigures. Some people just didn't like how we were handling it. But either way, eventually people in TTV stopped contributing to it. It became only like 3 to 4 people. And then we fired Kahi, and then it became, basically 2 people. And then we just kind of stopped because it just kind of burned out. But I do think it achieved its intended purpose because you can look back on those podcasts and you can look back at the artwork that was in those podcasts done by very talented community artists and people from within TTV. And those videos stand on our YouTube channel as proof that Bionicle can work as a system theme. Whether it's your preference or not, that's another matter. I will always prefer Construction. But all we were setting out to do was show that it could be done. You could keep the Bionicle spirit with minifigures. And even though the project wasn't a success, that part of it, I think, was.
About that point which you mentioned about the Bionicle minifigures, I think a little bit contradictory because we have Bionicle minifigures in the past, since the Tower Dika saga.
Yes.
Also, yes, I remember the minifigures. It was a very controversial topic because most of the people loves Bionicle as a action figure, not as a minifigure.
The construction figures, the buildable action figures that Bionicle has been known for are definitely the most popular form of Bionicle. And officially, Lego has, as you mentioned, they've tried minifigures in the past, but they haven't been the traditional minifigure. They've been often statue-esque. They've been either no articulation or far less articulation. and it was a genuine attempt by Lego to make minifigures for Bionicle characters that look like Bionicle characters, which is, that's it's a good effort, but they just didn't hit the exact same way as the traditional iconic Lego minifigure, which was something Brickonicle was attempting to address.
And the main reason it isn't necessarily because anyone from TTV would prefer Bionicle as minifigures. I think I can pretty much speak for everybody and say one of the reasons why we gravitated to it was because of its unique building style, because of its characters. Our logic was very much that if Bionicle G3 were to ever happen, one of the things it would need to be successful would be a TV show. And one of the only ways Lego would give it a TV show is if they could dedicate a large enough amount of their marketing budget to it. And realistically, we were very skeptical that Lego would see constructible action figures as being deserving of an Ninjago level budget. But maybe they would see a homegrown minifigure theme as being so. But that was just the thinking. It was more of I would say, a necessary evil per se, but I don't think it's evil. It's just, a trade-off.
Right. We have only 2 questions to finish the second part of the 3 parts interview special. Yes, the last one will be amazing. Believe me, will be amazing.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
So, we're gonna speak about sad things again. Did you remember the COVID-19 lockdown?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Everyone was in his home, or despite you were a doctor, you were a nurse, you were a medical researcher. So, how was the activity of TTV forum during the lockdown, and also, did you reach more people than other occasions?
Eldris.
So board activity, I think was pretty average during lockdown, possibly higher because around the time lockdown began is when the Canon contest started. So a lot of the work that went into the Canon contests happened on the TTV message boards, including the hosting. So there was a lot of activity when it came to that. But I wouldn't call it like a significant uptick. I definitely wouldn't say, and I haven't seen any of the stats or anything. We really like
We don't really look at that
haven't
kind of stuff.
we really haven't concerned ourselves with the stats of the boards, historically speaking. But I would not say that the boards were more active during the Canon contests than they were during like 2016, 2017, even when there was a lot more homegrown content and activity.
Yeah.
That
It's
we were
definitely a
instigating.
steady decline over time, which is to be expected, especially during an era where social media is more prevalent and Bionicle is long gone. If anything, I would say one of the things that kind of contributed to that is because the TTV channel in general was on a decline around that time for reasons we've prior mentioned. So it was bound to happen, but it was definitely a more of a slower to average time.
Mhm.
Okay. I think in one of the most interesting questions about the Bionicle fan base during those years of the lockdown. Did you reach people which aren't Bionicle fans during the G2 or G1?
Did we reach people who weren't fans?
Yes.
I would say we've like over time, I would say that we have definitely reached a lot of people who either were not active fans or were unfamiliar with Bionicle, because we've cultivated a pretty sizable Ninjago following as well, and there are a lot of people that are fans of Ninjago that learned about Bionicle through us, or they found videos of ours and they got interested into it. I would say more commonly, we would have people that used to be Bionicle fans find our videos and then become Bionicle fans. Like they get back into it because they'd see like a recap review or a Bionicle autopsy, and that would get them back into it and they'd be really excited. But as far as like, I wouldn't say we have sizably brought in new Bionicle fans in comparison to the earlier years of the theme.
Okay. And the final one. This is one of the maybe a little controversy. Is
Oh, we
surrounded
love
the
controversy.
okay, and we're gonna finish this with a controversy. Okay, the situation is simple. Did you remember the controversial project of Faber, the Bio Bible? What happened in TTV during those days of the Bio Bible?
Meso, I think you should take this one.
What happened with Biovival, huh?
Yep,
Well,
Biovival and Christian Faber.
that definitely I would say was very my wheelhouse. I made a series of videos about it, solo videos, and then we did several Mac and J dual podcasts about it as well. Um, I'll just say this, and we'll put a calf in it. I do not believe that Christian Faber has any ill intent in his heart. He is a nice man. He is an incredibly creative man. He's very talented. Speaking with him during our interview, which he graciously joined us for, was a very eye-opening experience because it showed that his intentions are very pure. He wants to inspire, he wants to promote creativity among the Bionicle fandom. He wants to show people that anything is possible if you believe in it. And he wants to secure the future of, if not the Bionicle name, the Bionicle spirit. However, I do not believe the way he went about it was good. To this day, I think it was a bit mishandled. I think that there was another way he could have gone about it that was much more clear. And I think that, I mean, it shows very much Christian Faber is a part of the creative team. He has not really ever been a member of the Bionicle community. He doesn't really understand, I don't think, quite how the community operates. He doesn't understand its various subcultures, how cynical people can be, how cold people can be, or how impressionable people can be. And I think that people very much saw Bionicle's creator posting stuff on social media in a cryptic way as evidence that Bionicle was coming back, and they got their expectations way too high. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of that, the fault is with the people, but back then, very much, I said, you know, some of the fault I felt was also with the handling of Biovival, especially now that we know now what it was about. It was unused Bionicle G2 concept art, and that's a cool thing. I'm glad we got to see that concept art, but that's all it was. It was concept art.
Yes. I think it's cool. Final, yes, make a clear state about what really was, because there are many people, even nowadays, they are believing Christian Faber came back Bionicle, come back Bionicle, or by Bible, it was the project which can be returned Bionicle, and all by the 2020's crisis, it was a whole conspiracy to stop Bionicle. Yes, it's a lot of
Yeah.
bizarre theories which are posted in the internet about Bible.
It was a complex and crazy time.
Okay,
That's for
yes.
sure.
That
Uh,
said, like out, out of it, what did come out of it was like unshakable knowledge that Christian Faber is genuinely just such he is so
Yep.
kind and patient and and graceful whenever he talks to fans directly. And it was genuinely it was wonderful getting the chance to actually talk to him on that interview.
Agreed.
Which he was kind enough. We got to have the first like community podcast interview with him, as far as I know. Before he was on like the founders panel and stuff.
Yeah,
And,
it was great.
Yeah, so he's just I don't have enough kind words for Christian Faber as a person. He's really really nice.
Yes. So we debunk one of the greatest myths in the Bionicle fan base. What really was about Bible, or what really is. So now we are the Bionicle Might Busters. And this is the conclusion of the second part of our 3-part interview. So, how do you feel about we are reached to the end and the conclusion of this experience?
This is very fun. We're
This
having a
is a
great
blast.
time. Thank you for
Yes.
having us on and talking to us.
All right. So, next time, prepare yourself because we're gonna discuss the conclusion of TTV, but we will have a freestyle occasion. Thanks for everyone to assist to the. Thanks for everyone. Yeah. Okay, I'm nervous. I need to confess, I'm really nervous because we're gonna discuss the ending of one of the most important Bionicle fans hub in the internet. So prepare yourself. It will be amazing. The last episode of the series. If you like Bionicle and if you want to support TTV channel, please watch all the videos of the series of the TTV channel. Also visit the forum. And if you like this channel, please subscribe, comment, and give us a very kind and warm heart like. Thanks a lot for this occasion. And most important, thanks to Meso and thanks to LJ for this special occasion.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for hosting us.
Welcome to the final round of the interview. We need to close the TTV history very close, a very few. So, according with his last declarations, the TTV program will shut down the next year due to the burnout, another situation as new interest, and but primarily by the job situation can you give me more details about why you decide it's in the next year will be the last program of TTB?
Sure. So there's two sides to it. There's the larger picture of our lives and kind of what led into this decision, and then why we actually chose the dates and times we did. LJ, the latter was pretty much your brainchild of like how we should end it and when. Do you want to shed some light on how that came about?
Yeah, so I have a document that contains the release date, the duration of the uh, different hosts on every episode of the TTV podcast. So it serves as kind of a historical document to show how many people been on how many episodes and when they released and so on and so forth. And in creating this document, I realized that we're coming up on kind of a cool uh, meeting up of numbers. Next year is the 15th anniversary of the TTV podcast. And because of our haphazard release schedule over the years, it will also allow us to aim to reach episode 365 basically on our anniversary, which means we can have 15 years of our history listenable in a year if you listen to one episode a day.
Okay.
which is pretty neat. And I like that a lot. And so, over time, I mean, Eldrin and I disagreed for a long, long, long time about whether to end the podcast, when to end the podcast, how to end the podcast. But ultimately, there's, I would say, three big reasons. Number one is branding, because we used to be called the Three Virtues. Then we changed it to the TTV Channel. And that was our name for many years. Unfortunately, that name doesn't really lend itself to search engine optimization because TTV is an acronym used for another popular streaming platform, namely Twitch.tv. And so it's not really the best name for a podcast, at least not nowadays. Um, Secondarily, one of the big reasons is uh, to put it plain and simply, it's just old. We have been doing it for 15 years, and the format is kind of dated. A lot of the people on the podcast aren't really present in a lot of other videos on the channel. They haven't been for many years. The podcast is kind of a relic of an older point in our lives, and we're moving towards a new duration. Not necessarily that we don't like Bionicle anymore, but it's no longer representative of the us that exists nowadays. And number three, we want to give it a proper ending. We don't just want to stop one day and say it's over. We want to give it some fanfare, send it in for a nice conclusion, do something special, get as many people back on as we can to kind of say goodbye and celebrate the anniversary rather than just kind of let it fade away into
Okay.
obscurity.
All right. So if we took I checked the branding situation and seen there are even a brand of a truck brand called TTB. Another brands using the same name, TTB.
Yeah, it's just kind of unlucky that it worked
Yeah,
out that way. So if when we do something else in the future, we want to come up with a
yes,
catchy name.
yes. Also, return quickly to the first episode. The Bionicle fandom world changed too much mm, and nowadays the people is no maybe taking some rest or Bionicle return, rest, return, and and it's difficult when you are a creator content. So it will be difficult if you want to have a project with the Bionicle related to Bionicle nowadays is not is yes, you love the topic, but maybe the people is not interested or interested only by seasons.
That's definitely something that we did run into as well, because Eldra and I have done Bionicle content for many years, even past G2. We have our Knack and Jay show where it's kind of a spin-off podcast where it's just LJ and I talking about Bionicle related topics. But I mean, LJ, I think it's fair to say that participation from others in the TTV channel over the years definitely has kind of dried up as their own personal interests have waned. I think your documents show as much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I need to flesh out the documents to show the other podcasts, but generally speaking, nowadays, people are only interested in being on the TTV podcast because it's kind of just a fun hangout session where we get together and we just talk about what's been going on or jaw jack about any random subjects. And it's less of a structured, we're going to talk about Bionicle kind of a thing. And
Yes.
and that is because a lot of TTV members, while they still like Bionicle, they're not anywhere near as invested in community stuff or current going-ons or really being involved in the community in any significant way.
They like it casually, basically, which is totally fine.
All right, guys. So I can understand your situation nowadays, but uh, there is something which I remember of the reviving Bionicle, one of the titles of the songs, "Cool Goodbyes," related to say goodbye. Did you will miss something special of recording a program or hang out with your TTV friends to an event, to a convention or something related?
Um, there will
I think,
definitely be things I miss. LJ, you want to go first?
oh yeah, no, yeah, I mean the TTV podcast as it exists has definitely been Bionicle centric for a very, very, very long time. And whatever endeavor we jump toward next probably won't be that quite as much when it comes to like hanging out with all of our friends. So that'll certainly be kind of unfortunate, but we'll still be like doing stuff with our friends. You know, we'll still either be hanging out or recording something with them. It just might not be Bionicle related. And I know I still plan on being a part of the community for the time being and going to conventions. And
Yeah.
hopefully people will join me.
LJ's
Yeah.
been a very active participant, specifically at like Brick Fair, Virginia for many years. And some years TTV goes, some years they don't, but it kind of goes on and off like that. I think that if you're talking strictly things I'll miss, I will miss the years where we had like all of TTV at Brick Fair doing things like a live podcast. That's definitely a thing to miss, as well as just how the TTV podcast has kind of uniquely formed over the years. I'll miss the in jokes. I'll miss the disorganized, chaotic introductions with people screaming random things, screaming like Mardi Gras, interrupting me as I try to say the episode number. All the hallmarks that have kind of happened over the years. But so long as we are, creating something with our friends, having fun times, having fun discussions, I think we'll be okay. And we do still plan to do that. We just don't have specifics about what that will look like right now, but we do have some ideas.
Okay. So this is, according with your words, this not will be a cold goodbye, maybe a warm goodbye.
Oh yeah,
Yes, that's a good way
definitely.
to put it. There's still Bionicle content that we want to do. There's still projects we've talked about for many years, some we haven't talked about that we have ideas for in the future. Who knows if Bionicle ever does come back? I'm sure we're going to come back to talk about it in some capacity. LJ and I still have Knack and Jay ideas to do. It's just it's just the TTV podcast that is ending, not necessarily everything else. Although that's not to say that the actual channel might not end one day as well, because like we said, the name could use some work. Maybe we'd rename it. Maybe we'd make a new channel entirely just catered around me and LJ. I don't know. But right now, it's just the podcast.
All right. Guys, we achieved the end of the TTP exclusive interview. After several weeks and the planification, some delays, and finally, we record in the Bionicle Day the conclusion of this whole story. So it's time to celebrate. Finally we have the whole story of TTB in a very exclusive moment for all the Bionicle fans around the world.
I'll
Also,
definitely say thank you for giving us the opportunity to kind of walk down memory lane and clarify some things, answer some questions. It was very fun. This whole thing has meant a lot to me. I have met the closest people in my life as a result of working on the channel and the podcast specifically. I have lots of memories through my formative years, through my teen years, through entering into like adulthood. This has kind of been a constant. I'm in my like late 20s at this point, just over. And like the TTV podcast has been a part of my life longer than it hasn't. So it's definitely a bittersweet thing, but the TTV podcast might end, but the Bionicle community will not. And our presence in the Bionicle community won't either. It just might not be quite as much as it used to be. Or maybe it will be. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? Bionicle could come back tomorrow. Wouldn't that be fun, Eldrin?
Yeah,
It could.
Why do you do this
yeah.
to
Some
me?
people are have a new idea of Bionicle 2025. Wow.
Yeah. Very much doubt, but who knows?
Who knows? So, the moment of from random questions. Maybe this is more a confession from Bionicle. So, do you have some repent of related to Bionicle? For example, buy something, a set, or make something with a set. For example, yeah, a custom or or whatever you want to confess with all the Bionicle fans.
You said, do we have like a regret?
Regret or guilty pleasure, whatever.
Yes, I have one big regret.
No, no.
Okay, come on, come on.
Not buying Karzani. My mom back in 2007, she ordered Karzani from the Lego magazine and she did it over the phone. They took payment information. They said they were shipping it, et cetera, et cetera. She didn't like check the bank account to like verify the payment had gone through. So the weeks go by, we're waiting for Karzani to arrive. It never arrived. I never arrived. She checked. We had never even been charged. So she called back and was like, I'd like to order it again. By that point, it had sold out, and we didn't have any Toys R Us's in our area to go pick it up on store shelves. So Karzani slipped through the cracks, and I was just like, oh, maybe I'll get it one day, not realizing it would be one of the most expensive sets on the secondhand market. So expensive that I could never justify getting it because it's really not that good, which I
No.
learned
Oh,
from watching LJ's recap review.
Ding,
yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
So what
What
about you,
about you,
LJ?
LJ? You
Oh
have something
gosh.
to say?
Um, Boy, when it comes to me and regrets. No, when
Oh,
it comes to Bionicle stuff, I was extremely fortunate over the years. So I was able to get a lot at retail. But I mean, I would say most of my regrets stem from interactions with people in the Bionicle community, just situations that went awry and stuff like that. So nothing terribly specifically tangible when it comes to Bionicle itself. Um, but you also asked about like a guilty pleasure, is that right?
Yeah, guilty pleasures are valid nowadays. Come on, come on.
All right. Guilty pleasure. Oh goodness. I'm gonna say The Legend Reborn. I really like The Legend Reborn, and I know that's
Oh,
not a popular stance to take, but it's not a great movie, but I really like it. I just think it's a fun time, so I like
yeah, I
that.
agree too. It's better than the second movie.
Ooh,
yeah.
okay, Meso. Let's hear
No,
it.
The Legend Reborn is good. It's good for the kids.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
hey,
No, I like it.
LJ, is one of your regrets not believing me when I told you Bionicle was ending in
Nope.
2009?
You know what? Funny enough, not one of my regrets. Thank you for asking.
Uh, I need to confess something about Bionicle.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, maybe in exclusive to things. I really love Knight's Kingdom.
Oh,
Really
Okay.
love, despite there are bad sets.
yeah. I mean, it
Even I
seems
love
cool.
the horrible Hero Factory sets.
Me too.
I really love the ugly sets of constructions. Even I bought Luke Skywalker. Yes, I
Oh,
have it
oh
my
no.
own. Yeah, I bought, and I say to my friends, "Do you know why I bought this ugly Luke Skywalker TCBS toy?
Hmm.
Because no one wants him, and
Aw.
I cleaned this store by the Luke Skywalker set. It's too ugly, and the guys cannot only make memes with that. Okay, I will make my own memes with Luke Skywalker. Even I bought the creepy Han Solo toy, which is
Yes.
too similar to Nick Bluetooth. Even I say, okay, I have my own Nick Bluetooth, and will make a Nick Bluetooth doll with this guy.
Well, there you go. Even the
That's
ugly
awesome.
sets deserve love. I agree
Yes.
with you completely. I bought 3 of the Han Solo figures and I combined them together in a massive creation that I named Han Trio because
Oh,
it has 3 heads and I'm so
the Han
I
Solo
get it.
Kaita.
Exactly. Basically, yes. Uh
Okay, I have
Even
a
the ugly
regret.
sets deserve love. What is your regret?
Yes, I make a very horrible and depressive decision. Take the decision in a depression, and I sold the Kanohi Bahi.
You
Oh
sold it?
no.
Yeah, I also sold the gold Kraken, and when I yeah basically when my friends and other people in the Bionicle Mexican forums know I have the golden Kraken, they say, "Oh man, that is the lead. That guy is the lead."
Oh
I
no.
really love the Kraken. The gold Kraken is useful for mugs.
True.
Oh
It's also
no.
very valuable.
Yes, also I make horrible decisions because because yes, sometimes I have anxiety problems, and yes, I pass a very horrible stage as an unemployment person. I
Wow.
It
nowadays I'm
happens.
yes, nowadays I'm reconstructing and my collection, and I think I start to looking again the set and say, okay, I want to see the details of the mask of the toys, and I think I found more funny those toys than in the past.
Well, we all have our own regrets. There's
Yes,
so many
so
of them.
I have a very special surprise for you. Okay,
Oh,
we only take 10 minutes. We are in the very last part of this very special interview. So, I'm gonna tell you a very weird and bizarre curiosity related to Bionicle. Did you
okay.
know in Latin America there some horror channels make a video of a so-called Bionicle moved by a ghost?
Really?
Really? Really? Do you want to see the video?
Sure.
Sure.
Why not?
Okay, this is
Bionicle
maybe
movement.
the weirdest curiosity of Bionicle and is word from the Bionicle iceberg.
Okay. Can't wait to see this. All right.
Okay, the video is called Algo, no está bien en esta casa or something is wrong in this house today.
All right. Let's
Pay
see this.
attention.
Yep.
We can see the guy, all the history.
What on earth? Okay.
We recognize
A
the
large
Lego
Bionicle in
Senor.
the back of the closet.
Yeah, no, pay attention. We are in the room.
All right.
You know the horror movies. The monster is hidden in the room.
Oh,
This is a classic horror video.
I have never believed in ghosts.
Okay, I'm gonna. Oh no! Why you do?
We
Why do
love
make?
Dang. Hit
advertisements.
by an ad.
Classic. It's the YouTube special.
Okay, the guy is looking for the. No, no, they are looking for the noise, the mysterious noise. No, that's what all the
Ominous.
horror movies start.
I love the wavy lines.
Maybe it's the old Mac. Oh man, that collection is amazing.
That is pretty big.
Reminds me to the Legomaniac house.
I'm waiting for the jump scare where one jumps towards the camera.
The Scorpio is the ghost. Oh no. That makes you go further, and yes.
Okay.
I will remember that video. It was a little slow.
I just saw this person has 23 million subscribers.
Yeah. Maybe okay. Did you hear?
No, there's no volume.
No, 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 no. Sorry, sorry. The guy say, "Did you hear?"
Oh,
We are start with the most dramatic part of the movie. It come from the Legos room. No?
well, don't go in there.
Yes. Come on. Let's check it out. Come on. Come on. Let's do it. There
Oh,
is nothing here. There is nothing here. There is nothing here. Woo. Yeah, there is something here. No, no, there is nothing.
spooky.
There is nothing here too. Did you hear in the alley? No, in the Legos room. In the Okay, 10 and 5 minutes or seconds. Oh man,
Oh my.
yeah. Again, the only spooky thing which I've seen is the collection. I want this collection.
That would be nice to have for sure.
Oh man, did you see?
Oh. Epic. Oh my god.
Like Toy
The little
Story.
head tilt. Epic. The ghost of Bionicle is real.
Nigeria ghost. Nigeria ghosts.
Amazing.
So let
That
me
was
check if we
incredibly
can
creepy.
if this video have the picture of the mug. Oh, this is here. The mug is really nice.
Goodness
Wow.
gracious.
That's very
Huge.
tall. I like the cereal box comparison. The possessed mock.
Maybe it's Matoro using his mask.
Oh.
So
Bro, it's just like Toy Story with Bionicle.
yeah,
They come
this
alive.
is this is the Bionicle Latino urban legend.
That is
That's
awesome.
outstanding.
So
Legend has it the
maybe
mock is still turning its head to this day.
ironically the Bionicle Iceberg doesn't have an entry for this video. I don't know why.
Wow. Who can
So-
say? But thank you for showing us that. I never saw that before.
That was fun.
So, according with all the activities, we finally reached the conclusion of this special program. Do you want to see something, guys?
Elder,
All right.
you got anything to say?
This was a blast. Genuinely, thank you so much for inviting us on and doing this. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. And I think that your dream of getting to interview Greg and Christian, I think it is extremely achievable. And I really hope to see that happen for you one day. And I really am very, very grateful that you invited us on. This was a lot of fun. So thank you.
Yeah, you have been incredibly kind. It was a lot of fun talking to you and walking through memory lane. And thank you and anybody else who may listen to this for following us for all these years. It's been a
So-
blast, truly.
Thank you, guys. You are so kind to 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 give me this opportunity. Also, it was incredible share with other Bionicle fans from other country the strange and weirdest Bionicle curiosity in Latin America.
Absolutely.
So, thank you so much, guys. It was a very special occasion. We're gonna see you in another edition of this interview show. Maybe we're gonna switch again in Spanish. So
That'd be awesome.
is please visit the TTV channel if you like Bionicle or are curious about why Bionicle is so important for these three guys. Check all the videos and subscribe and support the world of 20 or 15 years of Bionicle fan base. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much.
Because I know somewhere deep down in my heart, I still love you.